Well, one just went to wow. It's exhausting.
I don't know.
Oh, no, Carol.
Julia?
Julia, excuse me.
I was like, oh no.
Okay.
I know, I'm like, wait a second, did we
No,
get
no,
somebody
no,
new?
Julia.
No, she said she would be here, so I'm not sure.
Do you want me to call? Everybody, welcome. It's time for RFP for Sunnyside. And I have not actually ever done this before, but I'd like to call the meeting to order. Do we have minutes from the previous meeting?
No, I keep forgetting to put them on. Did we? I'm sorry.
Okay. And do we have an agenda?
Sent out with.
It got sent out with that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I sent it everywhere.
Do you have an agenda for the other people?
Yeah, they're all back here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Does everybody here, I knew, oh, and you again, does everybody here know each other? Okay, well, why don't we start by introducing, if you two would like to introduce yourselves?
Well, I'm Stephanie Alward, and I am here on behalf of the Sunnyside Rotary Swim Team.
I'm Pam Bright, and I'm here on behalf of Sport for the Cause, the ranch swim we have in Sunnyside in June.
Okay, welcome, 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 welcome. Well, the objectives for today's meeting are,
I don't think I know her.
she's auto tap.
I'm trying to remember, it's been a while.
It's Lindsay, with the Lake Farm and Fun Parade.
Okay. No, Amy. I guess you guys don't need.
Honey-do list every morning.
Somebody's got to do that.
Somebody has to manage it.
That's it. And of course, we have our wonderful and talented city liaison.
Okay. Who's that?
All right, so objectives today are to get through the RFP request as efficiently as we can and spend money as effectively as we can. All righty, so the first item on the agenda today is,
I was gonna say, can we get theirs out of the way? Since they're here.
do you want to swap the items?
Just to move them around. Since they're here, that way they don't have to sit through
I think that's a great idea.
all of them.
But why don't we do the budget report first?
First, and then we start on the items. That's
So
exactly,
everybody knows where we're at.
that's perfect. Couldn't be better.
All right, so at the last meeting, we didn't have a quorum, but we presented the budget report and that should be in your agendas. I don't have one for the public, I'm sorry, I didn't print out the whole packet, it's a big one. So, as of 8:25, this was the report that we generated. Up here, you'll have the beginning fund, this is what we started the year out with, 127,999 with 56 cents. You have some money set aside for the convention center, which is $75,000 because this is your third year. We expect to receive $110,000 in 2022 from the hotels and RV parks and everybody here in town that collects the funds. Let's see, down here on line item, it says professional services, which 557 3041 160. We cents. So remaining in that is $122,703.49. Out of that, we still need to pay Yakima Valley Tourism, Sunshine Days, Lighted Farm Implement Parade, and I think that's it. That's it, because Miss Sunnyside's already, they've already been paid. Sort for the Cause has already been paid. So it looks like we may have money left over. So I would probably, let's see, in that fund right now, at the end of the year, let me see, 110. Without the expenditures, we should have 313,000. But then you deduct the 155. We don't really know the numbers until everybody brings in their invoices. Let's see what else do I explain? We have a miscellaneous line. I don't know, things have been charged to that are out of our control. They're just like US Bank. I think the US Bank charged
Fees.
fees, and I know Elizabeth charged a Yakima Publishing invoice to it. So I can bring back a full report on that one too if you need me to. What else is on here?
$203 for a bank services fee. Some workers' compensation memberships fees were paid.
There's another detailed report of what's in what has been paid out of. And then the last page there that I've attached is what the proposal for 2022. So you can kind of look back to see what was funded last year.
That was really helpful, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We list the priority one, what they requested, and then their lower amount, then what LTAC recommended, what the vote was, and then what council approved. And then LTAC met again in September of 2021 to review I think they came in a little bit late, so they met again and council asked us to review them. So again, LTAC recommended and council approved.
All right.
So then today, what budget do we need? Do we need to set one based off the 110? Make a decision on that? Is that what we're
Not the
basing?
110. Well, it's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. There's money in the account. So right now that I could tell you is $272,789.91. But you have to subtract 75,000 from that. So you can budget whatever you guys want.
Up to.
Up to 268, something like that.
I don't think it's ever been drained before, but,
So the last page is 2022 lodging tax fund proposal, this column right here, funding requests, these are the current funding requests, correct?
No. That was
last
last
year.
year. Mhm. Yeah, this is what they requested, their priority number one, and then if their lower amount, if you didn't fund this amount, this is how much they wanted.
You've got $200,000 essentially.
Yeah.
And I would say, let's be good stewards. We don't have to spend it, there's no reason to.
that is something that I'd like to start out with. I remember 15 years ago when we were doing this, a lot of things were said about heads and beds, lodging taxes, heads and beds. It is. But it isn't. It's also tourism. And tourism comes from having those people here, staying in places that they wouldn't normally stay in greater than 50 miles. And because it does impact the restaurants. Generally, if somebody is here, they're going to go out to dinner, they're going to shop in their stores, and it's great for the entire city. But these funds are lodging funds. That's the purpose of this committee, and is to get that accomplished and promote the tourism as a wonderful side benefit.
The whole weekend.
Chairperson is here.
They need to be co-chair, just in case you need also. You're welcome. It couldn't be any better. We're starting in on the first RFP, and we've decided to let the people who are here go first.
Absolutely.
Who would like to go first?
I think we pick double Jackie.
Hmm?
Do we talk, you pick which one was first?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Oh,
Oh, we
okay.
do, so, which ones do we have?
You
here?
have
Okay.
our full attention.
All right, so I did submit a project proposal to everybody, before the deadline. I guess, do you want me to just like give you?
Project is first, and then that way we can start from there. Is that okay with you? Does
Yeah.
that sound right with everybody?
We've done that, but yes, we're starting again now that
If
you're
you
here.
wouldn't, if
Yes.
you wouldn't mind doing
Yeah,
that for the lay person, just take a second. so.
So, I'm Stephanie Alward, and I'm here on behalf of the Sunnyside Sharks Rotary Swim Team. We wrote up a project proposal to ask for some funds. We are going to be in charge of hosting an AAU sanctioned invitational swim meet this coming summer, 2023. In our league, there's several towns that have to come from pretty far distance. Our swim meets, the practices start pretty early. Warm-ups for those events usually start at about 7 a.m. And the day goes to about 5:30, and then award ceremony. On the later end, it could be, really looking at 6:30, 7 p.m. at night. So a lot of parents don't want to make that trek all the way back to Sela, back to Natchez, back to Othello, and then they're just gonna stay in hotels in Sunnyside since they have to be back so early the next morning for warm-ups again. And we're looking at about 30 overnight stays, it looks like it was in our proposal. And we're asking for $3,500, and that will help go towards the event overall. So we have to pay the city of Sunnyside fees to use the pool, to pay for all the lifeguards. We have to cover insurance for the event on top of what we already have. There's a lot of money that goes into awards. And we do have a lot of plans in place already to start our own fundraising. The whole event total, we're thinking should cost about $20,000. To raise the rest of the funds ourselves through fundraising events. We are going to have a booth set up at the Christmas Farmers Market that gets put on the day of the parade. So we have the Shark Shack that we use to raise funds, and we're gonna have the kids set up in there selling nachos, hot chocolate, other things that we quite haven't pinned down yet, anything that would be good there. We plan to raise quite a few funds through car washes that we've discussed. We're trying to go not the traditional fundraising because of schools. We don't want to compete with the schools that are selling the cookie dough and all those kinds of things because we can only have so much cookie dough in the world. But we do plan on doing fundraising through that. We do have in the works a sponsorship package, I guess you could call it, to go to the local businesses and even the businesses that are in the Natchez, Sela, Othello area, since their teams do come here to get some advertising banners set up at our event. So we're gonna solicit not only Sunnyside businesses, but also businesses from other towns that plan on coming to the event to help raise some of that money. We do plan on asking for different businesses to sponsor different awards throughout the event as well. And it's 100% volunteer ran. So it takes quite a bit of parent volunteers to get these events put on. There is 24 people to run timers at all these events. There's somebody in each lane to write down the times. I don't know if you guys are familiar with swim meets at all. There's several stroke judges. There's the starter people. So it takes probably 50 to 60 parent volunteers to actually get the event up and running itself. So we rely heavily on those volunteers, and none of those people are paid positions. All the money would go towards funding the actual event itself.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions?
I don't have any questions because I'm familiar with how this works. This last one,
Yes, yeah.
And I've I've seen this for years and years and years, and yes, it does bring people.
Yes.
It is the only event we have that actually brings people into the RV park. We actually host a fire pit during your swing meet. We have a couple that's been coming for years and years and years with their grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've gotten the word out. And yeah, we've actually gotten a good bit of numbers. And
Oh,
we
that's
do our
exciting.
they do the fire pit. We just offer the premises for them to do it.
Yeah.
So, and we love seeing that you're doing fundraising and it's, anybody else have any questions?
I would make a comment. The $3,500, the return on investment from just a technical sense is not there because to get $3,500 worth of LTAC, you have to have $87,000 worth of hotel revenues.
Oh, that's good information.
So, and that would be, if it's a 2-day event, that'd be $43,000 a night. If you divide it, say $120 room night, that's 365 room nights. We don't even have 365.
Yeah.
But I would suggest that we fund this because this does bring people into town. It has for years, funded this year, next time when it's your turn, fund it again. I think it's something that is worthwhile for the community to support.
It completely meets the criteria of LTAC as it does draw people in from outside of the community. And matter of fact, I think most of your attendees are from outside of the community, aren't they?
Yeah, most of them are. This past year, our home swim team had 90 kids swimming on it. And we hope to get that number at least to 120 this year, just for Sunnyside's team. Last year, the Sela and the Natchez teams had 170 kids.
How many does it sell?
They didn't have very many, I want to say in the 50s, which is quite a large team for such a
Yeah.
small community. So that was exciting for them.
You're gonna have more than 30 overnight stays too.
Yeah, we put that in on the lower end.
Now, the money that you, I'm sure it's written here and I'm just trying to figure it out. The money that we would be, should we decide to, accept your proposal, fund your proposal, that's for the amount of money is to be used, primarily, could you just refresh my
Yes,
vision on that?
so primarily, that money that we would get from the LTAC, if you guys were to give it to us, we have to pay the city fees to use our pool. So it'll go towards the city fees to use the facilities, and hopefully to get some vendors. It looks like.
I was gonna say, I think we would be best taking that money and putting it towards advertising.
Yes, yeah, so
They all put it towards advertising.
there you go. So we're gonna take that all into advertising.
I just,
You got that quick.
And use our car wash funds to pay the city.
well, you know,
Yes.
and thank you for your answer.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And we definitely are open to suggestions on anything to help create a better event. A better event would just.
Well, we do know,
Yeah.
that it brings a lot of people to town from different areas. We do know that, the restaurants, do well. We know that, of course, that now we know the RV park gets a little bit of the money and of course, the motels and hotels. But we will take this under advisement and review it. It's a good proposal. Is it Stephanie?
Stephanie.
Stephanie, so we won't probably be telling you today,
Right.
but we will take it under review. And is there any other questions from anybody about the program? Excited,
I
yeah.
just like that they're put in there that they will be doing fundraising on top of asking us for it, but
Yeah, and I like that,
you have a plan already.
Yes, yeah.
I appreciate that too. So, thanks, Stephanie. It's
Yeah,
exciting.
thank you
Now,
guys for the time.
when is the championships?
It'll be, next June,
Fine.
July.
July, 15, 16, 17, according to you.
15th, I'm sorry, I didn't see that, 17. Okay, all right. Good deal.
And it's hot as blazes, it's a good event.
Oh, boy,
Yes,
lots of water,
it was
Except-
hot as blazes this last year.
yeah.
We were outside in the 105-degree
Where,
weekend.
it was in Prosser. this
It was
past
in
year.
Prosser, yeah.
Okay.
We have a pool, so they definitely want you to keep yours as heated as ours is.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, okay, very good, thank you so
And
much.
I'll just stay, I just
You
kind
can
of.
listen to the
Yeah,
others.
I don't have to say, but
You
I
don't
like
have to
to
leave or
support
you
the
can.
cause, so I
You
wanted
bet.
to kind of
Yeah.
hear.
You don't have to leave, but,
No problem.
it's okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so our next presenter is,
I'm Pam Bright from Sort for the Cause. So we are 13th year having Sort for the Cause in Sunnyside. Last year, we were able to donate $120,000. So we gave $40,000 to Children's Wishes and Dreams, $40,000 to the Wellness House in Yakima, and $40,000 to Heart Lakes Hospice. Those three are actually our benefactors again this year. So in our 12 years, we gave away $660,000. So we are very proud of that number. We worked real hard for it, and with your guys' support, it's helped us a lot. We give away buckles to each one of our classes. We pay for insurance. We have a tent that houses our silent auction. We pay for the lodging for our judges that come to town. They travel from Oregon. We have a PA system, and we do a lot of advertising on TV and on radio. Sort for the Cause was started by Shelley Speck. It's held at Speck's Arena because they saw another event that was like this. So it's a ranch sorting. We have 10 cattle, 0 through 9, numbered in a pen, and we have 2 riders. They have 60 seconds to get those across the line in order. The event is free for anybody that wants to come to it. We don't charge an admission for anybody that wants, spectators that want to come. And I can tell you that we spend money because I eat out every day on here. I don't cook.
Yeah.
So, and we do work with Best Western. That's who we have as our host hotel. And that's who we put up all our judges there and pay for their rooms. They are a volunteer group, but we do, since they travel, we pay for their rooms. So.
and you're asking for,
Somebody in a hotel room or an RV park from this event.
Well, I wouldn't.
Travels greater than 15 miles.
Yeah, I wouldn't say most people stay at the event, that we don't, I wouldn't say we even would do an RV park, because most of them have living quarter horse trailers. I would say the Best Western, we normally block out 20 rooms. A lot of people come in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I know last Saturday night, so it was sold out. We tried to get more rooms, and with Best Western, so there must have been, I don't know how many rooms we had there, but we do call ahead and block out some rooms.
So that's a good way of putting it. You have 20 rooms that you're putting up.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what we block out for just us, for our alone. The spectators, I'm sure there's a lot of spectators that stay there.
Do you know how many people Spec Arena?
Well,
a lot.
yeah, we actually get 4 acres from the neighbors, so we use that parking. And they have 2 acres, so last year we had 110 trailers parked there.
Oh,
You're talking about the there are bleachers?
Yes.
If people were to come to watch, how many people could you put 4 people there?
Oh, they could be anywhere. They could be watching, they could stand around the arena, or I mean, as far as sitting people, they could probably sit like 100. But there's no specific place that a spectator has to watch. They could be sitting up with the judge on the trailer. They could probably 20 people there. Yeah, we could accommodate a lot of people. But there was, last year we took a drone across the county. There was 110 trailers there. So we could park a lot more. We could park more trailers than that.
But I'm thinking along the lines of the discussion that you and I had before.
Oh, right, about the cars.
Yeah, if you have days there, but part of their agenda while they're here is to go into the back is all about why do they do that? And we tell them why. It plays an important part in this part of agriculture, which plays an important part ultimately in what ends up on your table and your plate.
Right.
So that is, I think, the angle that I can see justifying giving you folks some funds. That's
It is almost an educational event. If you've
Yes.
never been, watch how those horses work and the cowboys work with sorting out one calf out of the herd. It's quite
It's a
fascinating.
skill.
It is a
definitely
real skill.
Yes. it
I have
is.
some family members who are involved in that in various places. And what's interesting also about it too is the contacts for horses, for breeding, for purposes, for family lines, all of that. It's quite a
It's truly
business.
a family event. There's
It
a lot
is.
of families that come that travel together.
But people don't understand why livestock are important if they don't have livestock.
Right, that's true. They don't
Yeah.
understand.
And you need
Yeah.
health, this is why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
part of your,
Are you food chain?
yeah, up there on your, PA system, say, this is the reason we do it, this is why it's important.
Right, yeah.
It's not just for fun, although
No.
it is.
Well, that's what we talked about. That's how it started, was they were sorting cattle on a ranch. That's how it got started, just the ranch sorting. It was a job, and then now it's an event, but, it was started as a job.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, there's that link too, with that program on, Paramount, what's it called, Yellowstone?
Oh,
They do a lot of, sorting
Yeah.
using those cowboy skills.
So you can, and I'm sorry, I'm just up my idea. Because
Because you can't, so do it.
if you had I'm just gonna say maybe some, you had a couple of black or speckled ones in the middle of them, and you say, you think this is easy? You up there in the audience, you up there in the audience. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can't sort these out.
Right.
And get the people involved, whether it's kids or it's adults. That's the kind of thing, that's edutainment. People will remember that. They'll say, I had a great time. You should go do that. And there's a buzz.
Right.
That's, the idea is, let's get people to come and see, let's get them to come and participate.
Right.
In what we're famous for.
Have a mutton bust in there.
Well, I didn't want to say that.
My grandson
But that's
missed out
basically what it is.
on the last one, which was just like 3 weeks ago,
Yeah,
and he missed out, and he is so devastated.
I couldn't get my little guy to do it. He's
Oh.
like, no way, mom.
Oh, my little
That's
guy
how
was so
my-
ready, but
That's
another
how my
grandma went
brothers
late.
started out with their cowboying skills. They started out with mutton busting and the Eagles rodeo.
Oh.
Yeah, so, yeah. Cool stuff. So the 10,000 or if you, the other amount that you're asked,
Right, it was
was
75.
okay. And
So we also do fundraising. We print up these packets, we go out, we hit up local businesses for, items for our silent auction, if they want to do a cash donation. We're very blessed with a lot of other help from Sunnyside. J&A Dairy donates all the cattle hay for our event. First Seven Cattle Feeders donates all the cattle for the event, and Vandergraaf's haul all the cattle. That's so we're very blessed. The Sunnyside area takes very good care of sorting cows.
that's awesome that there's
There's
that industry in our community with,
very good camaraderie
Yeah.
in Sunnyside.
Revenues, Bridget sponsors some of that, just in kind, you put dollars associated with the amount.
Right, so we have this is our sponsor pack, and so we go out as directors, we have different level sponsors available inside this packet. So we go out and ask for sponsorships, and then we ask for items for our, silent auction, if they don't wanna do we don't say no to any amount. I mean, if they don't wanna give $2.50, if they wanna give $50, that's fine, it'll help pay for lunch for our crew. So, yeah, we as directors, there's 6 of us directors, and so we all go out and do fundraising also before the event. But there's things to pay for, like all the buckles have gone up in price, insurance has went way up in price. We do, like we talked about, we do advertising on TV and on the radio. So these events are, they are expensive to put on too, even with all the donations.
okay. Any other questions from anybody or suggestions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you
Very
guys so much
interesting.
for giving us the time.
I've been to quite a few of those as a photographer and reporter, and I know how much fun they are. Like I said, a family rate too, so.
Yes, and everybody's welcome to come, like I said, it's a free event.
And by the way, as RV park owners, we also love to camp and we love it when we get a free weekend. anyway. So don't worry about that at all.
Yeah, I was just, you know.
But don't forget to do it.
Yeah.
You know, some people want the electricity, you know, it's
Oh, I
100
am,
degrees.
yeah, I want the power, I
Yeah.
like generators going.
So
Yeah, I'm that way
don't
too.
worry about that at all.
Those are really my club septic,
Yeah.
yeah. That's another
Those are
donation.
The big trailer with the air
Yes.
conditioning, water, and
Mhm.
I think it's beautiful.
Bless him.
Yeah. That's
And
a
they
great.
come and clean them very often, which is another very nice thing.
Thank you very much for bringing in doing doing the events, and we'll take this under review and get back to you on that.
Okay,
So
thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you as well. So is it Kim?
Pam.
Pam.
And I believe we had Stephanie on,
Mhm.
right?
Stephanie's
From
on
Yakima
Zoom.
Valley Tourism, okay.
Yeah.
So I
And
guess we're just.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you
meet
so much. It's
everybody.
nice to meet you.
Okay.
Stephanie, are you with us?
I am. Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Excellent.
Good.
I'm going to say that. I'm getting the pedicure later, so.
Oh, even better. Those are always good.
Can you hear me okay?
Nice to know that. Go ahead.
Thank you. So really quick, a couple of amendments to the amount. The dues for next year are actually going to be $358, but then the advertising for a 2-page spread is actually going to be $3360. I still didn't have numbers in as far as distribution and print costs, so we saw a savings, so we were able to drop that down. And then a 1-page would only be $1,733. So the requested amount is amended to 3,718. And then the reduced amount, if you just want to do the dues in the 1-page spread, it would be 2,091.
Does anybody have any questions?
Who does the artwork for this, Stephanie?
For what?
For the spread, the 1 or the 2-page spread?
That is Daniel and Jennifer in our marketing department.
Okay, so you guys do it. That's not something where this has to be given to you in format where it just gets dropped in.
Yeah, the 2-page spread and the travel guide, we work with Jacqueline on that with input from LTAC as far as what content, dates and events for that you want in there, plus any highlights for businesses that you would like to also be listed in the text as well. And then Daniel just puts it all together and makes sure that it flows and fits with the branding and the look and feel and appeal of the rest of the guide.
Have you seen the webpage and everything, the new stuff that's up?
Well, I had a question
Amazing.
about does this amount include any of the work on the webpage that we have currently?
No, we're proposing to turn over the assets to you for the website and for your Sunnyside travel guide.
Okay.
Is that why the amounts?
Yes. Meaning
Lower.
then that you would have to hire someone, an outside source to manage your website from now on. And then also if you would like to hire out a vendor to print and also then deliver and distribute your guide.
That makes sense. We were about to dump on you, and I think you saw it coming, the workload of, getting more and more vendors on the webpage and it changing on a regular basis. And it was going to be work for you all 12 months of the year.
Yeah, we anticipated that the amount that we were going to have to request from you to be able to continue this project, we just did not anticipate that would be something you guys would be able to absorb.
So what basically, if I'm reading this right in on that page, so basically you're going to use what out of the LTAC money to pay our membership to the convention tourism people?
Visitors Bureau. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maintain the partnership in that way, and then also advertise in our larger destination
And the
marketing travel guide.
magazines- the magazine that you put out at the various places.
Mhm. Yeah, the
that
one that
would-
we produce for the valley as a whole. So Sunnyside is anchored by advertisements as well from Grandview, Sela, Prosser. So, Union Gap, of course, we do recommend that you at least stay within our guide as well, only because you're anchored by the other cities that everybody else, that we're going to be promoting to everyone. So,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So the assets, let me just to clarify, Stephanie, the assets that are going to be turned over to the city are the webpage itself,
Or cometothesun.com.
all the branding that's been done on that,
Correct.
and that's
And
it.
the digital file for your guys' Sunnyside travel guide.
Okay. That little brochure that was done, is that part of the assets?
Yes, I think it was 10 or 12 pages. It's similar to the one for Union Gap.
Right.
But it's the Sunnyside travel guide, yeah.
I have a question, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
I know last time at the last meeting, there was a lot of requests for all that work. I would really like for them to continue our Come to the Sun website and our travel guide. Would LTAC consider just maybe updating the website once in a while, not requiring all those pictures that the committee had recommended? I don't know. I just really think that that's really important, and it's work that I'm super swamped already. I can't.
And that would be your
Hang
job,
on.
wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Because you've been managing.
well,
Well, and
I-
your predecessor did that.
very,
so-
very little, because I don't have time to do it all. But if Yakima Valley Tourism decides not to do that for us anymore, it would be really bad, I think, on our end. But I don't know if they're willing to even do that.
I almost think this needs a separate meeting because this is very important. If we don't fully utilize Come to the Sun, why did we do it?
And we'd lose it all.
We lose it all. And I understand, I hear what you're saying. Your predecessor did it. Matter of fact, she created the website
No,
that
they
we used
did.
for a little while.
No, Yakima did.
I thought it was,
That
who?
wasn't
I
that.
can't remember.
No, Yakima Valley Tourism created it, I think.
Deb told me she did it.
Well,
Anyway.
I think they
worked
worked
on it.
together
She worked on
We
it.
did. Deb worked with our marketing manager's predecessor. His name was Jared. And Jared and Deb put their heads together to create a website for you and a travel guide on your behalf. And we're willing to do all of those things, but we have to be funded at a much higher level than what was. Our market manager and our graphics and web developer, they don't come cheap. Their skills and their abilities, in addition to Daniel's relationships with web hosting and coding and other creative skills, that stuff costs money, in addition to creating and then distributing the travel guide for you guys. Again, Jennifer and Daniel, they are in marketing and graphics and web development. So they are going to come at a higher premium. And then also, when we monetize my time, utilizing our relationship with our print vendor and also our distribution company, it just was not cost effective this year for us. We continued what we agreed to do, but it just, it was not cost effective for us. If you're willing to, we can go back to the drawing board. We can put together an amount and we can submit another proposal if you would like us to continue. But one thing that I would also respectfully request is that communication has to also improve. I spent a lot of my time emailing you guys, asking for information that we did not get. And it makes us look bad as a DMO, as a marketing organization, to the folks that we are reaching out to. And I just candidly speaking, it doesn't bode well for your community either. When incorrect and incomplete information is on the website, printing and distribution deadlines are not met with our companies. That puts strains on them as well. So that's the only one other thing I would request, please, is for us to improve our communication
Appreciate
and
that.
response. Yeah.
Stephanie, I have a question. Can
Yes, sir.
you compare the scope of work? And I have to admit that I'm not familiar completely with what you were doing with Sunnyside. I am familiar with what you folks are doing with Union Gap. Can you compare the scope of work that you had with Sunnyside to the scope of work that you currently have with Union Gap?
It is equal, save for the advertisements placed in the magazines that were dropped for this year's funding. So Jennifer had negotiated a lot of rates on behalf of Sunnyside with specifically designed ads for Sunnyside, similar to what Jennifer and Daniel do for Union Gap. And they were, so that portion of it was not included for this year. So everything up to, you know, the website for cometothesun.com, as far as Daniel's time designing, coding, organizing the information, and then also the print advertisement for and on behalf of Sunnyside.
To be honest, and I'm going to suggest this to you, that I think we need to put our heads together before we go back to them and ask for anything. Because if we're asking them to do something and then we're not following through, they can't do the job. We're not getting what we're paying for. It's kind of a double loss.
Well, and why create this website if we're not going to be able to add things that are happening in the community and use it for what we designed it for? And that's what happened at the last meeting. We started saying, well, we'd like to see this in it and we'd like to see that in it. And I almost think that is our responsibility, which then we need to figure out if she does not have the ability for her work, which I hear clearly don't have the ability to fit in any more into your work schedule, then we've got to figure that out. So it sounds like we need a separate meeting for this.
Here's what your recommendation is. In order for us to maintain our own website, is Come to the Sun, you have to recommend to the city council that they hire somebody solely for that purpose.
Well, it's part of their job. It's not a full-time job by any stretch.
Or you could,
But there's other things that we could hire that person to do besides the website.
And they are currently looking at
We have
personnel right now.
We don't have that person. That person, I don't know this we're looking for a grant writer.
And that would be a perfect grant writer combo.
Well, yes and no.
I've been a grant writer.
Yeah, but grant writing is its own fancy thing.
It is.
And to do a website, and I know that Jackie has worked on it. I know Deb worked on it from various
But
times.
not everybody has those skills.
And I know that Elizabeth even worked on it. So that our recommendation, we have to, as a committee. Stephanie, I don't need to be taking up your time.
You're totally fine.
Because I believe that this is something we do need to go back to the drawing board and look at what we really are willing to
Do.
Yeah. And in the meantime, so that you guys have a comparison, I will put together a new marketing package for you, because it used to be that we were, you know, it was comfortable at about a $75,000 or an $80,000 level to do all of these things for you. So everything that means website, travel guide, distribution of the travel guide, placing advertisements for you. You're one person to design your website is going to cost that and more.
How much was that number?
We would be comfortable at a 75 to 80,000 foot level. That's going based on 2019, 2020 funding, but of course everything is going up. Inflation has.
You got to factor in about at least a 4% inflation.
Well, travel guide alone, our print cost for our travel guide through Journal Graphics has gone up 25%. It used to cost us $56,000 to print our guide. It's going to cost us $72,000 now. Just to give you an idea of paper costs and people's time and fuel. You know, it just everything is going up at a minimum of 10 to 12% is what we're seeing. At the highest is 25%, which is our travel guide.
Stephanie, I have a question, if I might. The $75,000 to $80,000 figure, a certain percentage of that is advertising placement, purchasing and placement of advertising.
Yes. So yeah, the favorites that we have the relationships with, 1889 magazine. Sadly, AAA is discontinuing their print program, so they're not printing their periodicals anymore. However, Jennifer has done a really good job at researching more options for us as far as Yakima Valley tourism to advertise for the valley, and it's really exciting, some of the new magazines. But yes, it would include that. There's a management fee that will cover employee time and just the nitty gritty. So people's time, the paper, the envelopes, the postage, just
But I see-
regular day-to-day operational kind of stuff. But the bulk of it is what goes to the ad in our travel guide, producing and distributing your travel guide, print advertisements where Daniel would work with you to put together the creative for those, maintenance of cometothesun.com, social media, advertising, our communications, and our travel trade manager who is working with Green Rubino out of Seattle. They have the national and international reach that we do not. So that is also a part of that marketing contract. And then Adam, his name is Adam Stewart. He's our communications person, but also to attend travel shows, to meet with the travel writers, pitch story ideas, respond to media inquiries we receive, efforts with our visitor information center with responding to info requests and fulfillments, that kind of a thing. So you're getting a really large dedicated staff to do many, many things. So that's something to consider. But
Right.
But if we were to say, just the website portion of it,
mhm.
how much?
I will go back, I'll have to get that with Jennifer and Daniel to see what they would propose for that.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say, is I wanna see what it would be, because the website for us, as far as the parade goes, I know that that's a lot of help for us. I can't say that for everything, but I know the website and it's gonna take a while to even find someone, if we were to recommend that, to find someone to do that would be a while. So then we're missing out on being able to have the website for Cinco de Mayo and the
Well, and
spring
this
and everything.
might be a temporary thing that we spend the money now, but in the future, like when we get our welcome center up, perhaps that's a function that the welcome center employee can then take on, because obviously,
What welcome center? Did I miss something?
well, we're putting funds away.
Convention, you.
Convention welcome.
Excuse me, I had a little spot there.
Money away for it,
Put the
so-
money away for something or other.
Yeah.
that's
So if
right.
you could have one that just, what it would cost is just for the website, and then, because, I mean, I kind of know I can look back at the stuff from before, how much that would cost, but just the website would, a current cost, I guess, would be
Yeah.
good to know.
We'll just give you a whole, just an à la carte menu.
There
So-
you go, yeah,
Yep.
Because
that'd be great.
I think we need to see that, yeah, absolutely.
I'll get
Thank-
with marketing and we'll get that over to you. I'll do my best. Jennifer, she's under the weather today, so I'll hope to get it to you tomorrow or Friday. Just need to get her little health situation under control. So bear with us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
No
quick.
problem.
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. You guys have a good day.
You as well.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Bye-bye.
So I do think that we're gonna have to have a separate meeting as far as just this one. I mean, I get it that we need, but for us, for the light department fun parade, we use that, I emailed during that time, Daniel all the time and Jackie all the time so they put all of this stuff on there. And so,
There, and I don't know if you know, a personal business point of view, we're horrible, we don't advertise. And she's constantly sending me things, Peggy, you can get involved in this, Peggy, you can get, the work she does with each of the individual businesses behind the scenes is amazing. I don't know if you get emails from her and texts from her and all the time. And I mean, that's something we don't pay for. That's something they take upon themselves to try to help our little city out. And this webpage, either we wasted our money or we need to make it work. It's as simple as that. Because some of the businesses are on there, but as we know, businesses change all the time. We need to pay for it somehow to keep this updated. Yes, we could do the events or we could keep those off, right? We could
If we just wanted to take advantage of the fact that they distribute all of these things, that's a different pile of money.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to have somebody in-house, which seems to be one of the suggestions that's come up, which is a perfectly valid recommendation, you need to then recommend to the city council that this is what you'd like to see.
And find out if there is somebody
Well,
available.
there could be
or-
somebody
or
on
somebody coming
staff,
up, yeah.
there could be somebody on staff who's perfectly willing to take on that. We might have to look in-house and see if there's somebody, not a problem to do that. And it's a pretty quick kind of situation we could do. And I think what Jackie was trying to say is that, you know, her duties are pretty well outlined as to what she wants to, doesn't want to do maybe, but what her job, but what her duties are, you know, and if infringing on that, you know, where she fits that in is, you know, not,
Glad you spoke up.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good that you
I know
do.
that at the budget retreat, they discussed funding a deputy city clerk, so I would have help. Right now, I have a deputy city clerk. But she's
Her job,
she's a public works
I was gonna
admin
say,
and
yeah,
doesn't have
that-
and she
time.
doesn't have time.
And right now she's on maternity leave, and so I'm covering for her too. That I would love to focus on this, but I do records requests. Right now I'm reviewing 12,000, that's just on one keyword, 12,000 emails. And
Just record requests.
so I do records requests, and that's just like its job.
It's
Yeah.
its own job. It really and truly
So
is.
we have a website, a city website here, and we could put the events on here. It just won't be as beautiful as they make our website.
And it's still required. And that's what we do.
Well, that's what we, you know,
Come to the Sun, so everyone knows, they don't go to the city,
Yeah.
they go to the city to look up other
city
things.
stuff.
But if they wanna go to events, I think we've been getting people to come to.
If we spend money on creating a brand, we need to continue.
We should,
Yeah.
we should,
Yeah.
well, we
that's-
should, like Peggy said, we need to make it work for us better. It's not working for us as well as it should be. And I think that's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
And I think that, these folks have already built it. And I think we just need to make sure that people will come. If we get it, you know, making sure that we have those communications.
And I know last time we talked about maybe LTAC kind of taking and submitting the stuff, like we kind of monitor it, not do it, but kind of say, hey, we know this and this event's going on, like, here's these pictures, here's this, and then sending it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that might be, that could be something that somebody from LTAC might want to take on, I don't know. You know, have one, we're looking, the city is really trying really hard, and I'll just speak for them since I'm on the council, as it turns out. We are trying to take a better approach to communications and have a one point of contact for communications, because we've seen how disaster it is when it comes from many mouths. And so we're working really hard. So like if we were able to get a communications director, then that would be part of their job, would be that website. Absolutely. And when you were talking about more duties than just this, that website would be, the Come to the Sun would be one of their duties. The city's website would be one of their duties. So, yeah, and I'm glad you're here because we do have a question for you, as it turns out.
Okay,
Oh, Gigi.
Elizabeth, have you
hello,
met Tom
baby.
before?
I have met Tom, you probably
Oh,
doesn't remember
okay.
me though.
This is our city manager,
This is the manager, Elizabeth Alba.
and then you know everybody else.
Right. But-
Yeah, my sister worked for you a lot longer than I did, but I worked at the Crossroad Hotel.
You've just been everywhere. What we're discussing right now is with the Yakima Valley Tourism, and trying to decide how much money, what we want for them, basically. That's Gigi, and she has a bow on.
I
to
think
match
we,
mine.
I think they got scared, not scared, but turned away last meeting when we,
Yes.
the pictures and they want, it was a lot of work that.
it's just.
So basically, I'm just was telling them, you know, we are wanting, the city is wanting to hire somebody to just be a communications director. And as we were talking about the websites, you know, the Come to the Sun websites, we've got that branded. We are not using it as well as we ought to be. We have a disconnect in communication, which is something we've been talking about as a council as well. Having a communications director, the website could be part of that person's responsibilities, and as well as turning out things when emergencies or.
You can also look into volunteer. What are we really talking with the website now that it's built? And we're talking about then communicating that to them.
Yeah, but you're still talking about a skill set.
Oh, definitely.
And we need to have
Definitely.
communications, the city needs to have a communications director. And the communications director, if people, like you have some big thing going on out at the motel and you want everybody to know about it, come to the
We
Sun.
could use this so
We
much
could
more
use it,
effectively.
we could use it more effectively. The city website is a kind of a different kind of website, which is not so much geared toward tourism, though it supports tourism. So I think that would be part of that director's.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll
and I
give you
think, I would like to, Elizabeth Peavy talked about it to the council a little bit. You want to just kind of bring us up to speed on that, if you don't mind.
So what we really need and what we've talked about is a media coordinator, and we want them to be a city employee and not a contract employee, because, you know, sometimes you're communicating about sensitive matters or things that need to go to the public, but you have to be careful about how they're worded so that it maybe doesn't cause chaos. And right now, Jackie does a really good job on our citywide website, but it's hard to do. It's one of those things where you have to be on it all the time. And sometimes people don't refresh their browsers. And so they'll go on to something they've been on before, and she's updated it, but their stuff is not updated. So we really need a media coordinator is what I would call them. And then, yeah.
It's obviously not a full-time job though.
Well, it could turn into a full-time
I
job.
think it really truly
And here's what the reason it could be full-time, because like Julia said, we're not utilizing the Come to the Sun the way we should. We're also not utilizing outreach to business. With Amy when Sunshine Days is coming up and is blasting Facebook and Instagram and all these things.
But when the convention center opens, are you then gonna hire another person? I mean, you see what I mean? We have limited funds and employees are getting thick around here. You know, we're doing a great job of hiring because there's a need, I know that. But I'm also a former city employee, so I've got my experience with that too. So, you know, there's got to be some positions here that maybe could be combined to help assist us with the funding if we're gonna do something like that. I'm just saying, paying for another full-time person is not gonna sit well with the public.
Actually, I think.
I can assure you, because I've been getting the comments.
Money, it's money well spent. People don't understand that. And that's where we come in, is to let people know that we can get more people here if we have somebody dedicated to just making sure they know we're here.
So,
But, you know, as you know, I support this 100.
I get it.
Yeah, I support this 100%.
on
So.
Saturday, you weren't there, but and Martin probably has the handout from our budget retreat.
Right.
There was a page on there that compared us to other cities of this similar size, and it compared our staffing levels.
Mhm.
And we're 17% less than all cities on that list. And
But I told you before, as a business, we don't turn to the city. That's just the fact.
Right.
As a business, and I've been very clear and open.
I know.
And I still involve myself and support it. But to say that this city has been helpful to my business, no. This city tried to shut me down when I was in business for 24 hours and did their best. And so to try to shut this down, and since then, so.
Yeah, and
But I think we need to prepare, we gotta prepare to be better and getting us there, so.
and here's the other part about the convention center, and I've talked to Julia about this. One of the issues we're gonna have with that is there's no public transportation here.
Right.
So where are we gonna build that convention center where it's gonna go to a place where it has access to a hotel? So I went to Indiana or Iowa, I don't remember, but I was at a conference. Got off the airport, which landed in the town I was in, and they had lost my luggage. So I ended up being there for an hour longer. I went out and there was nobody to take me to the hotel. So I told her, well, what do I do? And she said, well, we can call you a taxi. And so I ended up in a private taxi. It cost me $40 to get to the hotel. Then while I was in town there was no Uber, there was no nothing. They had a shuttle, but the hotel stopped at 3 o'clock. So what I'm trying to get at is we don't have an airport that's going to fly someone in for a convention.
We have that problem already with our
Yes.
airport.
Yeah.
It's been a long time problem.
And then they're going to get off the plane in the Tri-Cities. They're going to have to rent a car.
Yeah.
Because they won't have any transportation. How is that going to be appealing to people to come here for a convention?
And that's part of, that's
And
part of our
that's-
buildup. I mean, that's,
I get that,
that's
but,
part of the
and
thing
that's,
that we
And
have
that's why I
to
asked, are we gonna hire another employee?
well, that's gonna be 15, 20 years down the line, and you and I are gonna be dead. So right now, we are just saving money.
I am old, my birthday's tomorrow, so
You
thank
know,
you
maybe
for
not,
reminding me of that.
I know I
Happy
will
birthday
be.
earlier.
Let's put it that way. I know I will be in 20 years. My ticker's,
About talk to
it's not talk.
Okay.
But no, the thing is that we do need to plan for that, the convention center, I think, and with the airport and all of this other stuff. But right now.
Is the website,
We need to be worried right now,
the website that we
the
paid for.
website, that we take care of that. And like, we know that we're looking at hiring somebody in City Hall to be the person who's in charge of record keeping and some other duties along with that. As you just heard, what was that number again? 100 and the records request.
12,000.
So those are just,
That's
take care of
ridiculous. And
people want to know things.
People will request, I want any
You can have
record
that
that has to
with
do
each
with the
one.
prosecutor, so I have to review every email that has the word prosecutor in it.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
Is the focus of this meeting going from tactical to strategic?
Yes.
Because
We're kind of getting away from
Yeah,
that.
you
from it.
definitely are.
definitely are.
So we do need, and we only usually try to meet for an hour. I think with the exception, coming back to our
We
agenda,
need strategic session.
Yes,
we
we
do.
do.
we do
But
need
I
to
don't know
do
if
that.
today is.
Today is probably not the
I
day.
know. And we don't have the numbers, because right now, for this year, we might be able to get away with just continuing our relationship with Yakima Valley. They're going to get us a number to man it, to man our website and do every single thing we want with it.
Well,
For
Not
2023.
everything.
But yeah,
2023.
well, at least updating the businesses, updating the events, doing the photography, doing the web.
the same thing
They're
that
going to
they
give
did
us a
then.
list of what they're going to do with those items for sure on it. And they're gonna give us a price. So, we definitely need the strategic meeting, but we may have a solution for that other than an
So let's-
employee. And it will definitely be less than an employee,
Oh, yeah.
but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we still actually, and I think that Tom's. Let's go ahead and continue. I do agree, and I think you need to keep that a note on having a strategic meeting, because maybe we definitely do need to have a strategic meeting. But let's get back to Jackie,
No,
not Hun,
you're
Jackie, professional here. Well, so what is the next proposal on our list?
Cinco de Mayo proposal.
What,
Well, I was gonna say we have,
We did the ones that were here.
yeah, we did the ones that were here first, but we have the 509 Insanity because they have a group of them, there's like 4 or 5. So I didn't know if we wanted, because
could we group those?
since,
Yeah, we
well,
can.
since it's all the same, I just kind
It
of
is.
thought,
And I was
we're gonna
gonna tell you guys, I'm here helping with Miss Sunnyside, so I'm taking my city hat off.
Okay.
And they asked me if I could be their cheerleader, basically,
okay.
okay?
All right, so the next one,
Yeah.
so let's
so-
do the 509 as a
Yeah,
collective.
because I had a question, that's why, because it's the same with all of them. Because I know that they got funded for their hardwood one in 2019. And I had a question for Jackie, because they didn't include any of that, in their packet.
That they've received money before.
That they had received money, they did mark down that they received money, but they didn't give us any financial information or a budget from 2019. So I was just gonna ask, did they turn in funds from that for 2018? I mean,
No,
is it-
because we don't ask for a report after, we just
Okay.
ask for the, how many people stayed
Yeah,
and all that, but,
but they did receive, I mean, because it's in there. I didn't know if that was only just because like they requested that amount or they actually received
no, they
that.
actually got it, yeah.
Okay,
They actually
that's-
did get it.
Okay.
And then this is the same issue that they had that last time that they did. I don't know, because he's not here, but, and he says he's a counselor, so they had a district thing that he had to be at. But I think they're having the same issue where he writes down Sunnyside School District, but it's really 509 Insanity. So, and then everything he provided, attachments, say
Mhm.
509 Insanity. So I'm not sure why.
Why does it say
That was my
Sunnyside School
other, that
District?
was my other question.
Yeah, why does it
I was
say
just,
Are you planning on using the
the
Sunnyside
Sunnyside School
School District
District's
facilities?
facilities.
Yeah, but
But-
reading this, it's like we're paying the school district.
No, I know.
and
This is an AAU thing, is it not?
Yeah.
yes.
Is it his
I-
own though?
Oh, it's
They-
actually his own group.
Oh, it's his own group, but it's through, it's sanctioned, the events are sanctioned through a,
So they
That-
do,
Are
so
there-
their name
Are
is
they?
509 Sandy, so it's like this group, but they're in with they do AAU events.
I just know, reading it, it said that they were sanctioned events, so if a team wants to go to another, sometimes you have to have so many tournaments under your belt before you can go to another, and I know that if it says that they use sanctioned, that usually means that they use these events to make sure they can go
So
to.
which
a
event
bigger
are we voting
tournament.
on together specifically?
Okay, so there any of the
There's,
ones,
there's
Well,
one
not all of them
in,
say 509.
they all say 509.
No,
There's one
the
in
Battle of the
mid-April,
Raft doesn't.
there's one in mid-June.
Except for the Battle of
Well, what
the
are they?
Basketball.
Okay.
They're all basketball stuff.
I did.
so that, I guess that was, I guess the question is how, because before, we always said they didn't pass because we didn't have all the information. So before we, talked about it a long time, we just wanted to know if we were still going that route.
Do we,
in things.
and I think the question you're asking, do we have all the information?
Yeah, that's, I guess, the question, because we don't, as on the hardwood for sure, because they got funding. The reason why,
Say this is different,
but,
But they should know.
Yeah,
What their
'cause
budget
there's no
is.
like revenue, there's
that's, yeah.
and all of them.
They didn't put revenue in any of
They
their,
only have expenses.
yeah. And
But
they
it
were,
doesn't say like if they try to get
It
sponsors.
doesn't
or-
say anything about their own fundraising.
Yeah, it doesn't say like they even have money to start it. So I don't know if you don't know, like, because I thought you had to, in there, it says, in the proposals, I thought it says you have to provide like a statement.
Yeah, in the RFP.
He called me
said,
once
how
and
many
asked
do they
me about
expect?
it. And he
Okay.
said that, he didn't have one because they haven't met for COVID. And I said, well, then just put that in there and
Then it's
Give us
an
some-
incomplete
give us some sort of
RFP, and you should
indication.
Go back.
But I
Well,
know
I'm
they've
sorry.
been doing,
I spoke over you there, Peggy, I'm sorry. They could have just put a statement to that effect in here, but
They
it doesn't
did.
sound, they did.
they put it together, but that's my question is if they have had events, I mean, my kids have gone to their camps. So that's,
This past year,
yeah,
so they would have had some kind of revenue information.
yeah, so that, I guess that was my other, is they contacted you and said, this is what happened, you know what I mean? So
he
that, I
just said
guess,
that they haven't met to discuss a budget, and that's all he said. So I
Okay.
said, put that down.
But it feels like it's,
But if you've had events, then
yeah, they've spent money, and they raised money and spent money.
I mean, I submitted like a bank statement, you know, and I'm pretty sure, like, I mean, even like the farm implement is
Yeah.
in here, like what they spent.
I kind of feel like because it's incomplete, I have real reservations about that. I don't mean that they're being this or that.
Mhm.
Technically, you should send it back
generate,
They
they
do.
do.
That was my conflict, is that I, like I said, my kids go to these camps and I really like what they're doing and I like the idea of everything. It's just that I know previously every year we've sent them back if they're incomplete. And I didn't know if we
I thought we did
gave them,
accept them.
that's what we did the last time, is we didn't accept them. And so, I mean, I did read through it and I read it and everything else is right, it's just no budget. So that was my question.
Okay, so I think legitimately, we could encourage them to please send us a budget. We want to be able to,
To do it this year.
we want to be able to take a bit closer look at it, but we need to have a budget.
And I think if we could ask them how they interface with AAU, they say AAU sanctioned events. The AAU events actually generate quite a bit of revenue because there are participation fees that the organizer can charge.
Which aren't listed here either.
Well, that should be part of their budget.
But they don't have that listed. I looked at, and the tournament they have coming up, I did look it up. It's $325 for a team to join, to sign up for it. I mean, that's just something I looked up. I had to find it on social media. But I wish that they would have at least put that in there, in here, that's something that they're,
That's part of their fundraising,
yeah.
So let's, do we feel, like we should, send them back with these encouragements? Please send us a budget. Please include information about, involvement with AAU's sanction and include, what kind of fees you're charging, because that's your fundraising aspect.
That should be part of their budget. We'd
Yeah.
like to see.
Yeah.
What you're doing for
And the
fundraising.
revenue part of it.
Mhm.
I understand they haven't currently had any fundraisers, but,
But they're charging for the
but the
teams.
swim team didn't either, and so I.
The other thing is, I would like to know if the dates that they have chosen, has given us time frame, they
Yeah.
have given us actual dates, if they are free or they conflict with other AAU events, because there are more than one
Yes.
AAU event happening in an area.
Yeah.
And it could be that there's only one on Spokane or Lewiston or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
draw from this one, if it's on this weekend, we can move it to the next weekend, and it's free. It requires some research, and I think they probably have done that, but they haven't given us enough information to let us know.
And is it already booked through the
Yeah.
school? Like
So
they're not
Can we
throwing
ask
out,
them
like,
that as well, Jack?
we're gonna do it this weekend, but yet,
Oh, whoops.
oops, time passed, but we're gonna do now do it this.
See, I kind of, and I
Well,
kind
it
of
seems
like,
like that was before too, they were,
yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I know,
it
like, in
was
the
hard.
past, like, my niece has been in, like, here in Sunnyside doing a tournament, my other niece is in Pasco, somebody's in Wapato, like, they're all these different ones because the team chooses, so we need to make sure they're drawn to the Sunnyside.
To here. I
Because
can,
I know for parents, like,
yeah.
they're dedicated, they'll drive, cause I have one
their
niece here,
kids, yeah.
one niece there, and I do it too, with my son in soccer, so we're
Yeah.
different, so that's why I wanna see what are these dates, like you said, specifically.
So is it something we can give them, and are we saying no for 2023 and saying they can apply again, or are we saying they can
I think,
Apply for this year's.
come
funds.
back?
I think,
Yeah, right?
I'm
Okay.
asking you guys, because you guys have to make up the decision.
Mhm.
Shall we send it back with these encouragements?
Yes.
That we just, the things that
I
we
would
just,
recommend that
yes.
strongly, yes.
And
That's
can
what I
we
really
give
wanna
the
do.
authority, if an RFP does not come in complete, can we grant her the authority to just reject it and submit it back and say we need completed applications?
well.
I have done that in the past, if, there's any like of the registration, but, I just put it in there this time because we ran out of time. I was doing the other special meeting. And so, and then especially because they said they didn't have a budget, they hadn't met for whatever years because of COVID. So I said, I'll let you guys review and
I
decide.
think that on this particular instance, that's probably wise, and I do think that,
And
I'm
then I always bring
gonna-
it back for
Yeah.
you, to you guys and to you guys. These were the incomplete, you decide.
Do we have
I
a
think we
deadline
have,
in mind that,
well, let's,
or-
Yes, we can give them a deadline.
I think we should give them 2 weeks, or 2 weeks, does that sound fine?
yeah, I think,
I think 2 weeks, so today's the 31st, whatever 2 weeks Wednesday is.
sorry about that, Julie. I just know I had this question, and I wanted to like.
Don't be
There's
sorry,
no-
don't be sorry, this
Okay.
is valid, very valid. And we'd like to support the basketball.
I-
because
yeah,
I think it's a
I
good
really
program.
do, but
Let's make sure we're doing it.
we didn't correctly, that's all I just wanted to
Sure. And thanks for the suggestions on the encouragements there, wording them. Jackie wrote them down.
So I'm, the question is, how do they interface with AAU? We want to know the revenue and expenditures, their budget. And then do the dates conflict with any AAU events? And are the gyms reserved already?
Yeah, so the primary question is, what are the dates?
Yeah.
You just have given us mid-April.
Dates, we need solid dates.
And
The budget's probably the biggest thing, because it's hard to make a decision.
Not my phone.
Not my phone. That's a cool one though.
You want to move
Okay.
on to the next?
Let's
Why don't
moving on,
we do
yeah, let's-
Elizabeth now?
Sunnyside?
Yeah, let's do the Sunnyside.
Thank you, Jackie, for
You're
doing
welcome.
No, you're fine. You was chair today.
You're fine.
that. It's very good. So go ahead. You and Miss Gigi would like to give the next.
So are you on the board or are you?
I am not. Diana just asked me if I could be here because I have told her many, many times when I talk to her that I'm a former Miss Grandview mom and I fully support LTAC trying to get them money, and I wanted to explain what my role was when I was in Grandview and my interactions as being a parent, just so you can understand it from a different perspective.
Can I ask, I think you're gonna be shocked at how many years we would need heads and beds to pay for this. I went back and I did this first 15 years ago, and we told them they needed to come up with their own financing by the next year. So when I joined a little bit ago, I was really surprised to hear that we're still funding them.
I think, let's go ahead and let
And
Elizabeth.
so I wanted to know, how many girls does that support?
So we have 4 on the court, and their role really is an ambassador for Sunnyside.
Right.
Is really what their role is.
And they definitely do advertising.
And they do advertise. But they also, when they have their pageant, the girls that come from all the other cities, because trust me, and if you've been to pageants where they come from everywhere, they rent rooms because they aren't gonna drive in the middle of the night back to Spokane or other places like that. So I know for the pageant, for sure, you get girls that, and their parents that stay the night. Just because of the sheer logistics of coming from Seattle or Spokane. And it's a real, I don't know how to say this, but when I was a mom walking in the parade, it was hot and my feet hurt.
And you had to do it anyway.
And I had to do it anyway. You build a float. They try to recruit and do fundraising. They came to my pop-up at my house and did a raffle.
I've asked them to come. I think we
Yeah.
talked about that. I've asked them to come. They
And
said, I
they've
give
done-
money, but you have to ask me, and they never come.
They came to the girls and the candidates all made appearances at the 4th of July celebration and sold raffle tickets and volunteered to hand out flags. So they're again, being visible in the community as
So
well.
The commitment is huge.
It is, and it's not just a commitment to the girls, it's the parents. You have no idea what the
3 hours.
parents do.
Mhm.
And the parents really, you fund yourself. If you
Yeah.
need to drive to Spokane for a parade, you're driving to Spokane. If you need to pay for lunch for your kid, you're paying for lunch. And then let me tell you one last thing about the program. There's just not any money for them that they could build us a float that looks nice, honestly. The floats, Brandy and I did the float her year with the parents.
I did the year my daughter was on.
Yeah.
I did the year my oldest graduated. It was our 20th, so.
Nice.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of work, and there's moving parts on it. And honestly, they judge the floats at every parade, and it's miserable when you don't get anything. And sometimes it's just because you haven't had enough money to put into the float, and it's kind of scuzzy, to be honest with you.
I can't remember, how much are they asking for this year?
I think $10,000.
10,000.
Now,
They were approved in 2020.
But for 2,000, right?
right,
Which seems a lot for.
Well, it's significant, but
and
do you know why it's so much more?
well, they want to do something really special, and it's hard. Been direct, right?
We're not doing it next year.
Yeah.
Exactly what Tom and I said.
I went to
I went to Miss Moxie. They had 21 days to put their pageant together. In 21 days, 3 girls raised $15,000.
That's amazing.
They even asked myself to be a float sponsor. I am a float sponsor for Moxie. I do support the Miss Sunnyside, the girls. I invite them to our events, any events that we have at Walmart. I invite the girls and they do come.
Do you support them at a $10,000 level?
No, because I feel like they can
Do more fundraising.
fundraising. And speaking, this was just, and I don't know if I could say it or not, but some of the parents current and past have spoke to me and they said that they were brought to the board that they want to do this or that to bring funds and they were told no, that they can't by the board. So hearing that, and I don't know if it is true or it's not, it could just be the parents saying it. It gives me kind of feeling like, okay, what can they do more? Because as a business owner, I was never asked to sponsor.
I was,
I know some other businesses, they say they've never been asked to sponsor.
Some of the, and I don't know right currently what advertisements they have on there, because they put those advertisements on their trailer. And it still said, until, and I don't know if it's changed or not, but it was the Daily News. But the Daily News hadn't paid any money on that advertisement for probably 5 or 6 years at that particular time. I don't know what the
Wow.
situation is now. Maybe they weren't charged, maybe they weren't sending out the letters. Significant amount of that. I don't know what they're doing now. I do always am conflicted about the Sunnyside.
I know
Do you
you
have
are.
some more information?
No, I did want to let you guys know that they, and obviously we all know during the pandemic, they couldn't do their banquet. They're still kind of recovering from that. And when I talked to Diana, she said that's really why the ask was bigger this year. And then I think that they're grateful for anything that they get. It's just, you don't have a ton of money. They only had the one banquet that they had last year. And and we all know that that's kind of.
I'll give you a rough, I did this math. So at the levels that they're requesting on low priority, and I base that maybe they got it, maybe they didn't get it, and Tom's numbers would be significantly more. I just based it as, you got $100 pure profit out of them. So I didn't factor in anything, like what your costs were, anything like that. I literally just to try to be as giving to them as possible. It would take, for 4 girls, I thought it was 8, it would be $150,000 that we've given them over the 15 years. And it would take 4 years, 1 month, and 10 days worth of heads and beds. And we're talking about 4 girls. I want the money, I would hope that the money would go to more than 4. What about all the rest of the students? Now, they do advertising and that has a dollar value. So, and please understand where I'm coming from. Our float broke down and Mark had to hot wire it. Luckily, it was a VW engine and he knew enough about it. His legs were sticking out of the air. Believe me.
We had the same thing
Okay,
happen.
so I support. Understand how much I support this.
No, I do.
But I support it
At a lower level?
at a lower level,
And
like a $2,000 level, and I support them then on a personal level. And I'll tell you, I received a complaint about this organization that they asked me to look into, I brought it up. I was told they were spending LTAC money on girls' dresses. And I decided it didn't need to go forward on a complaint, actually they did, because I found out from somebody who went with them. And it doesn't matter because what they're requesting, they could spend it on something else. I think that's just, it ended up just being a nitpicky situation. It really was. They don't get enough. In other words, they could have used the money that they used raising it, doing a car wash, and it would have worked.
Yeah, they should,
And
and I'll tell you,
they've done yard sales.
they shouldn't use it for the girls' outfits.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
that's a
no, no.
personal, and
Excuse
so-
me, let me tell you how they get their outfits, in case you don't know. And then I have another thing that I want to just let you know as well. They get their outfits through the sale of the raffle money, and the sale of the raffle money, because I remember that there was, each girl had to sell a set number of tickets, raffle tickets.
Required to.
They were required to sell the raffle tickets, and that went into their clothing fund.
Or the parents can write a
And-
check.
And they all went to the same place to get the Best Buy. I remember the mothers, I mean, my daughter was on the floats. We made our, the costumes to go to go out. We made them for the ones that are on the float. And the only ones that they actually ended up having to buy from like Fashion Corner or somewhere were the ones for their formal, for their formals for their last year for their pictures and stuff. That was the only one that we didn't make for them. So we took a different approach. We didn't let the girls pick the dresses. The people who designed the float picked the dresses. And the girls hated them because it was like a Sunday dress, Sunday school dress. They looked adorable. And they wore sunflower vest. That we
Oh,
Mom.
which furthers the advertising.
for sunflowers. We've been doing, since '94, advertising sunflowers. You know. But my other thing is just be aware that if we decide not to give them $10,000, which I don't know that we're going to, it doesn't sound as if that we're going to, but just be aware that the council, once you send your recommendation to them, they may, just out of, what's the word I want?
Not spite, but it's close.
No, not spite, it's just because they are,
Have sensitivity.
They aren't here
they are sensitive.
while we're making the
Well,
vote.
no, you're making a
Recommendation
recommendation.
that they don't know why necessarily.
We do tell them why, the recommendation, that's part of the report that goes back to the council. And if you want to make the report, that would be lovely.
Yep, I'm gonna be there that night.
Yeah, whenever we do this. But the thing of it is you've got to understand that the council is probably going to say, well, I think we could give them a little bit more money than that.
But they only got 2,000 last year. And I'll tell you what, if this was
Yeah.
from my heart, voting from my heart, the money's given. But this isn't. It takes years to get our money back. It is not
Well, I don't
from the,
know, I don't know. Do we
from
think of it that
strictly a
way?
money point of view, this is not a reasonable request.
Okay,
Can I share a thought?
please do.
The float is something that for years and years and years, I'm surprised Diane's not here, because I would love to just see her. Because here we are again, you and I, we go after it once a year. I have said, I think the float is a very good thing.
Yes.
It is a civic pride event. It is not a lodging tax tourism event. And
That's
the community can support it. Many, many years ago, I said on Prosper's LTAC committee, they brought the float to us. We said, no, you can, this is a civic pride event. You can fund yourself through other means. They do that. They have advertisements on the side of the truck. They've never come back and asked for more money. Union Gap, they don't bother. They don't come and ask. They know. And I think here, the city council is sensitive.
voting
They
from
know
their heart.
people, well, they know people, they don't want to hear a Sunday morning or Tuesday afternoon, whatever it is.
Whatever.
I don't want to leave the door now.
The decision that was made in the city council meeting, so they came in and they said, okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of money. The city council needs to just recognize that the funds in this fund, the lodging tax committee fund, they're designed to build tourism. It's not just a pot of money that you can take from and hand to somebody that you feel deserves a little bit of money.
That you just have this, whatever, I can't think of the words today, sorry guys, my COVID fog is kicking in. But I agree with you on the float. I think that the float itself, but again, it's the parents, the board have to be willing to go make money. They have to be willing to do fundraisers. They've not offered up any of that. And the only fundraiser that I know about is the raffle.
I do know they got a grant because Walmart, they, part of my job, I called, Kim and they let her know that there were you guys can see. I'm not the one that determines, it's the boss, and she's the one that breaks it up. Now, they have been helping, they go to our events and do that. So I don't know, maybe next year she'll say, you know, I'm gonna give them $2,000. And I just let them know, kind of like how they city submits, like, hey, we're doing this, that's my job. So then I just let them know, hey, go apply for the highest, and then from there. But I do know that they did do that work.
They're at openings, they do so much.
So I'm gonna
for
put
us.
on my
Okay.
city manager hat now.
Please do.
What if you guys lessen it to $1,000 this year and tell them that next year they don't submit an application because we're not gonna do this anymore. We've said for 15 years that we're not gonna do this, but we'll give you half of what you got last year. And then as a city council person, Julia, why don't we try to write some funding for them in the budget for the float? We have general fund money to pay for it.
That's a good suggestion.
And then
Because
have
we
that,
want it funded.
because we have a line item that we can put in there that every year we look at it. And then they would have to submit receipts to us or invoices for us to pay those bills. And then we know what was going on.
You can make that stick. I've been trying to do that.
For 50.
You can make that stick.
Well,
I know Mark tried when he was on.
Okay, Peggy,
but would they still
I think
be
that's wonderful.
through the city, would they still be, because I like that they put the events on there, what we have, because they do go around and people
They
do
do
look at it.
more than we could possibly imagine.
Yeah, and
Those children are busy.
I mean, I've seen it at parades, I go to all the parades with my girls, and so
They're
I
there.
do see all the other townsfolk, and they do, oh, I didn't know they had this event, or, because they change it every year. Some years they put it different than others, I mean, I think this year it looks really nice. I did go to the float revealing, I
missed that.
I think they did a really good job on
Okay.
advertising.
I think we should give them the 2,000 that we gave them last year.
Yeah.
And say that we're gonna look at funding you outside of this, don't submit another application.
Well, that would come from.
That would come from Julia.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys make the recommendation
That was my
for
recommendation.
the 2,000, if that's what you guys want to do. But with the caveat, that this will be the last year, period. And Peggy, you get to do. And then from there, I'll take the line as council member to do whatever, like Steve said.
To do with that, okay.
Okay.
You're gonna write that down, sorry.
Yeah, I'll help you with that. And I think that's where the disconnect has been
Yes.
with this float,
Mhm.
is, yes, we want it. Yes, we would all help with it, give money towards it, do what we could.
But they still
But
gotta
they-
do their
they-
part. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like we need to get it out of LTAP
Yes.
Yeah.
and get it into the general
I
fund,
think so.
where the general fund could support it. I mean, we can support the other $8,000 right now. We financially are in much better shape than we were 15 years ago.
There you
So
go.
I would really support that. And I
Me too.
think that
Okay.
if we, and the other part,
You'd be
Julia,
very quiet.
make sure that I'm the city manager next year so that we can.
Yeah.
Shed
Do the
tears of
momentum.
joy.
Well, but
I
I just
just
wanna
want-
see them.
I'm
fundraise.
from here.
Yeah.
You haven't had city managers that were from here. They didn't care about Miss Sunnyside. I care about it. Obviously, I care about our city. Have you seen the big
Maybe
red
it's-
sign in front of the motel at the townhouse?
Yes.
And
I'm
I'm
aware
gonna,
of that.
I
Did
am
you
going to
see
do
that?
whatever
We
I
are-
can.
That is,
So tickled to death.
Yes.
Bless you.
Well, I
That's
just made a
amazing.
decision over the weekend that I am so tired of not taking action. And that's what seems, everybody's afraid, oh, we're gonna get into a lawsuit. Fine, get into a lawsuit.
because we could win.
Because we're
That's a
gonna win.
lawsuit we could win.
Yeah,
Is that a motion?
It's a motion for me, if somebody wants to second it, and the motion would be 2,000 this year and don't.
Just say,
spend
don't
anymore.
spend.
Second the
Okay.
motion.
So the motion is 2,000 this year for Sunnyside, Miss Sunnyside Committee. Seconded by Lindsay Kirkman, with the caveat that they don't ask again, but we got a plan. That's not part of the
To make
motion.
that stick, yes.
Okay. And is there any debate on the motion? Any further debate? If not, all those in favor, say aye. Okay, that one approved. Okay. All right, so we're moving on to 12:30.
and I'm gonna take
Museum.
off.
Go ahead.
I
Thank you very much.
woke up with a big swollen eye this morning, have no idea why. So I'm gonna go take some more Benadryl and put a hot washcloth on it and see if it'll go away. I mean, literally, I was like, oh my goodness, what's this? You got a shiner with no bruise.
Do you want to tell them about the fencing? Because they're gonna talk about that one next.
Oh, okay.
Fencing.
Oh, yeah.
For the museum. So we reached out to the city attorney.
Yeah.
And he hasn't replied to us. So what's
When you have
happening
questions.
is, the museum wants to put in like kind of the cast iron style with the little pointy top fencing,
Old fashioned.
old fashioned looking all around the museum property so that they can set up the farm implement displays. And so we don't know if LTAC is allowed to fund that. I don't.
It used to be a city-owned property.
It is a city-owned property.
Okay.
As it turns out.
And here's the other part of it. The museum board just wants this so bad, they're just reaching for anything they can to try to do it.
Understand.
And until, I think in my opinion, I don't know about Jackie, but until we hear from the city attorney if this is an allowable expense with LTAC, I think you guys should just send it back and say, we need a legal opinion.
Yeah.
Or we're taking it under advisement or
Yeah.
something to that effect.
Can I add something to that?
Mhm.
This is
Please
personal.
do.
I understand that they have farm equipment that used to go up to Union Gap to the Civil Washington Agricultural Museum. They want to keep that here now. And I would recommend against that. I would recommend against that for this reason. Why dilute something that is unique to this area? Why not send it there? Let them have that. Do something which is specific to Sunnyside, rather than having farm implements there and farm implements here. And let's play together in the sandbox instead of being very provincial.
It'd be nice, don't you think it would be nice to have be able to give our guests something that they don't have to go outside and say, they have so many, if they didn't have 2,000 down there, I would agree with you. And I go on a regular basis having a little grandson.
But there's a couple of things that, and this is why I think we should have a strategic meeting. There are some things that Sunnyside has a competitive advantage in, they're unique in. If you had, say, a lot of dairy equipment, which is unique, that's one thing. Two, there's an individual from this area, it would take a little bit of work. There's an individual from this area who I think would get behind this, which would be a huge boost, and that's Bobby Dunbar. Why don't you guys bring in some space stuff? Have you been to
Yeah.
Hutchinson, Kansas? Have you ever seen what Little Hutchinson, Kansas has done with space stuff? They have a cosmodrome, which is almost as good as the Smithsonian.
Oh, my word.
And all you have to do is do a little bit of gathering, have Bonnie, who is the name, and I'm pretty sure she would get behind it.
Yeah.
For so many reasons, math and science, women achieving, all these things could be done. And they're unique to Sunnyside, they're not unique, they're not Tri-Cities.
You're talking
Let's-
strategically.
Let's be something that nobody else can be.
And I think that, Elizabeth, go ahead.
So we,
Sorry,
actually,
thank you.
Morning Rotaries has asked if they can expand the skate park. And apparently our skate park now is way different than any of them, even in Washington State. So what I've understood is we can have tournaments with the skateboards and, Andy from Bonzi's wanting to do it.
You gotta go to champion, yeah.
You can bring in people that are kind of famous skateboarders
Do workshops.
and do that. And he said that would fill those hotels like no tomorrow. And I think there's a lot of things though that, like you said, we need a strategic plan and get some of the people in here that want to do events and that want to do something.
Maybe not even events, but to support
So, right,
something.
to let you guys know, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. You know, like the same thing with when the people from El Salvador came. We did a walking tour of Sunnyside. And I did things that day that I had no idea was happening in Sunnyside. And, what we need to really promote that and promote, come to Sunnyside where you can walk, where you can ride your skate. So,
That's, I would like, in the budget, I would like to have some money that we can do, we have a strategic meeting, we have the money to still do stuff instead of.
Spending it down to the penny, yeah.
Thank
We've
you.
talked about that
Thank you.
for 15 years.
I've got two for the strategic meeting. Any other takers?
Yeah,
Strategic, yes,
definitely.
Ms. Yes,
Does
Ms.
does
Amy?
anybody know why we didn't get a proposal from the VFW for more? grants?
Yeah, that's,
I
Are
thought
they
it
done?
wasn't,
No, they've got all kinds of spots still available there.
yeah.
I thought we did approve them the
Yeah,
last time,
last
and that was
year.
their
Yeah,
last
2022.
one, they said.
That's what he said in the proposal, he said, this is it, this is all we need to do, and then we're done.
I know we had a hard
2022.
time getting that last one,
Yeah.
that one that we
Well,
did.
there was a lot of shipping issues
Yeah.
and that sort of thing.
So we might in the future, it seems like every couple of years,
Yeah.
they kind of
And,
wait.
and right now, the city is putting up lights out there. We've done, what were some of the other improvements we just did? I think that there
I think
was,
it's a wonderful area.
it draws a lot of people. It draws a lot of
You
people.
gotta
Nobody else
go
is doing that.
someplace else to find
It
something like
is,
that.
yeah.
If
well,
it-
and we're getting cameras so that there'll be a camera pointed on it too. There, we get vandalism there every once in a while.
Yeah, which is,
It is hard to push against patriotism, no matter what your goal is in this country. And there are so many, I want to say events, but there are events that could be done that would generate people out of the area.
Like, well, like
Pearl
they do.
Harbor Day.
Yeah, they
all
do that.
kinds of
They
stuff.
do, and if we
But
promoted
all
it,
else, you got jets flying over and. I mean,
Yes.
you gotta have somebody in the Air Force and somebody.
Yeah, and you have to start ahead, because we had the line of parade, it was on December 7th one year, and then we tried, it was just too late to do anything. One thing, but yes.
But it is something that's possible.
Mm-hmm, it is, because they do it.
If nothing else, you'll bring veterans. They will come
Yeah.
on motorcycles, they will come in cars, and you'll bring veterans here.
I've had veterans come to see what we have. Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
They will come. They remember.
Okay, all right, so,
So here's one
This
last
is
little
a
piece of
strategic
the
meeting.
fencing. So if,
Oh,
if
yeah,
it's not, if it doesn't come out of LTAC, it can come out of REIT two. This is considered, it's considered a park when we start putting things around it and then it becomes a secure thing. And that fund has over $600,000 in it. So there's money in places we can be creative.
Okay.
so if we table the, table the museum,
Do we need to say, what should we just say?
well, I think.
I think
well,
she said we have to
We'd like
wait,
to
see
a legal-
what
yeah.
legal opinion.
We're waiting for a legal opinion. In the meantime, we can maybe suggest,
Them seeking.
well,
their
it would have to
funding
maybe
elsewhere.
come from you or come from me. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I could come from you.
About the REIT money.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we want to go back and since it's almost 1:00, Are we- let's get
Well,
the,
and I'm gonna take off.
yeah, that's my big
Thank
piece
you
of
guys
paper.
for all your hard work, because I know this is a hard one to go through. So I just want to tell you, I appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you.
And
Bring donuts next.
yeah,
Hey, I brought the best food last time, and none of you people showed up. So
That's okay.
we had a great time, didn't we?
Now that we know that there's food available, I won't be.
All right,
turning
guys.
it away.
We'll see you
I
later.
Thank
just
you.
had too big
Go
of a
home.
box to carry today.
Go home with your.
I'll make sure to have something next time.
No, I'm just kidding. No.
I did healthy, I did not good for us, and I did something in the middle.
Oh, Peggy, I missed that. I'm so sorry.
Copy me on the invitations.
Yeah, copy on the invitations when there's food, that's right.
Please copy me.
Yeah, that's right.
So I know.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna put, just before we go to Amy to do hers, the, items from committee members is to, set a date for a strategic planning.
Meeting.
And let's just do that real quick. Well, if we have a next meeting, do we want to do it that or do we want to have it separate from our next regular?
Separate from.
When is the next regular meeting?
When is our next regular meeting, Jackie?
We don't have regular meetings, it's just special, so whenever you guys schedule it,
Okay.
You just need to give it time to advertise.
I just need
Yeah.
24 hours.
24 hours. Well, let's, look at your calendars and, I think, Wednesday mornings, are they good for you guys?
Yes.
Yes?
No, but I'll come.
They're gonna be free.
I'll come even without the food. I know, 'cause this is important.
This is important
I know
stuff. Thank you,
Wednesdays
Thomas.
work best for me, just because now kids are in sports, so Tuesdays, Thursdays are.
Wednesday's good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next available Wednesday? Do you guys want to do it in a month, or you want to do it sooner?
Sooner.
Let's do it sooner, so the calendar,
Wednesday, September 7th, does that work for anybody?
can we do it a little bit later on the,
You have the 14th. and
I'm not here.
okay.
I do the 7th and the 14th. I'm not available.
I'm fine if we do it the Wednesday.
The 7th, how about you, Tom?
Yeah.
And you're Peggy, you're good with that? Okay,
Can we do it during the morning?
11 o'clock. Do you need it earlier?
No, I think that's fine, because it gives me some time, just because I have to pick up my kids from school.
Right, so 11 o'clock then.
Or
11?
does 10 work better?
Ask them,
10:30 I can do.
okay, is that
We
conducive?
can stick to the 11 then.
Just stick to 11.
Just stick to 11.
Yeah, that way
Okay.
we stick to 11, and then so next week, Wednesday, and that's gonna be a strategic meeting, right? Okay.
I know, me too. I was like,
Who's Martin?
He's on Zoom.
He's snooping in. Hello,
Where we
Martin.
Oh, you'll let us know where we're going to have it.
We can have it here, or if you guys want to meet somewhere else. you can.
Hello.
If you want to come to the RV park, you're welcome.
Oh, let's take a tour of the RV park. Does that work?
Okay, RV park. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do the RV park. I've never been over there since you made all your changes. Well, heck, I haven't.
Wait,
been
is
over
there
there.
gonna be food?
Yes,
There'll there'll be something. We'll figure out something.
And then what would you guys like on the agenda? Because I need to know specific.
We're going to be talking
So
about
just strategic.
Strategic planning.
Strategic planning
strategic planning for LTAC money, use of the LTAC money.
and just a vision for tourism.
So
And a vision
vision.
for tourism,
So do you guys want to talk about the policy that you guys were reviewing?
yes. Let's
So I'll
review.
put that on there. So
review the
LTAC
policy.
and,
Is there any-
you know, we actually still haven't discussed signature events, approving them for 2 years.
Mhm. So
2
that's,
years at a-
that's
That's
part of
been
the
on there
policy,
since
yeah.
for the past 5
Let's
years.
get,
See, you're starting to say those things already.
because it's
So I
part of
would
our
say, cause
strategic plan.
yeah, I would say that's part of it, is figuring that out.
Okay.
If I feed you lunch, then we can go longer than 12.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
at
so
the
strategic
RV park,
planning.
Peggy's gonna host us at the RV park. And, September 7th, 11 a.m. And under the agenda will be the policy for signature events, the strategic plan, vision for tourism in our community, and reviewing of the policy. Does that make
Yep,
enough? That's
got
like
it. Yep.
4 items, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, now we did that. Let's go back and let's do the signature events.
I have three
There's
items.
3 items here.
Oh.
What?
3 items instead of 4 on this one, right? Okay. I just wanted to mention.
Yes, you're right.
All right.
I can't count.
It's okay. I didn't want to miss a point.
I can't count, so.
All right. So you guys you made a recommendation on the float.
Mhm.
Um,
Do we want to make any, do you guys, before we struggle ahead, do you guys want to make any kind of a decision on the Rotary and or the circuit cars? Do we have any major headaches with approving either of those?
I think the Rotary, I would recommend we fund the amount that they requested, $3,500. It doesn't, as I said, it doesn't give a full return on investment, but it's something that happens once every 7 or 8 years, and it does bring people into the.
Is that, that's a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I think.
Okay, Amy second. You were trying to say something else and I cut it in.
Well, I was just gonna talk about the sort of the cause.
Okay, well, let's vote on this one
Yeah,
first.
but I was just gonna say, since I'm on the board of some team, I'll abstain, since there's enough people here to vote. The last time there wasn't.
Is there any other debate? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. With Amy, not Amy, with Lindsay, abstaining. So circle costs, let's go there. You have some thoughts, Mr. Chairman?
As far as sort of the cause is concerned, they are quite capable of generating funds without our help. That much said, I think we should give them something because they do bring people to the community. And I would like to see them, again, encouragement, expand into some kind of edutainment because it's something, I said this to Pam when she was here earlier, our salespeople go out, they talk, say, for instance, to a car club. And the car club says, well, I was wanting from the Sunnyside. Well, if you come on this weekend, we can do this. We put together agendas for them. And they go, oh, I had no idea. I'd like to be able to include them in that agenda.
That's part of when we're talking strategic planning,
Mhm.
that we gotta really, that's could be part of what we tell people as part of the policy.
So I would like to,
Anyway,
I would like to recommend that I would say instead of 10,000, that we give them 4,000. And that they give us some kind of a synopsis of both why and how this is important to agriculture and this is important, because that's something we can sell from. They need to have that. Right now, they have a focus of raising money for chairs, which is good.
and that,
Like we've been a diamond sponsorship. Like their branding and stuff, like it doesn't even say from Sunnyside. So I was going for 5,000 just because that was a sponsorship level that they had. But I want to recommend that they actually give the city of Sunnyside more branding in there.
right, so we can make that part of the motion.
I don't know how to go about it.
Well,
You're amending my
I'm amending the motion, but I also,
well, we have to vote on that first, if you're amending this motion.
okay.
So what is your
I
amendment?
second
Wait,
for
hang on
amendment.
a minute,
Oh,
while she figures it
I'm
out.
going-
to amend his
Yeah, I was like,
motion.
he has to amend his, so I wanted him to, I was just putting
Oh.
things out there for him to think about for a minute.
Because, I'll amend the motion, because I want to encourage them, that's a good event. It has a good purpose and it can, I think, in the long run, generate a lot more revenue.
And I think your point about, who was seconding that? Who
I was seconding it.
Peggy second that. So, under debate, I just want to, mention that I agree that the synopsis and making us aware of how we can market it for them and how they can market themselves as more entertainment, not just charity fundraiser.
Yeah.
It is, because it is a family event, it is entertainment, people really get a kick out of
And
it.
much less than we are.
That'd be
Heck of a lot.
cool. Okay, so we have a second from Peggy. Any other, Jackie, you have something to
With
add?
the amendment, are you changing the amount or leaving it 5,000?
Is there any other debate on that, or comments? Then all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Gotta teach that to Pearl. Okay, and we sent back to the drawing board the tourism, and we're sending back to the drawing board for the 509.
Yep.
And we're, okay, so we've made motions on the others, this is awaiting.
Yep.
Legal, okay, now, sorry, you're up, girl, finally. Take it away, I'm having a drink of water.
What are you doing, sunshine days or Cinco?
Cinco's first on the
The
agenda.
singles first.
And you're at $35,500
So Cinco, I'm very,
That's total.
as of right now, yeah.
I don't know the direction. I need to talk with Elizabeth and I need to talk with the city. Just because I'm sure everybody's aware what happened this past year. I know with everything that was going on, I know Chief recommended that we have to now fence the vet. It's but this was, when everything was happening, it was just kind of like a talk. I did talk to Elizabeth for a little bit, but like, okay, what are we, is the city gonna provide fencing? Do we have to pay for fencing? Does all the signature events now have to be fenced? And she did say that she would look into maybe city providing fencing. Now for Cinco, that's where I'm unsure, like, there's no way I can fence downtown.
What happened to the people that were actually charging you more this year? When you had people that were coming back, like, the Cliffs was coming back and actually charging you not only what he had proposed, even though it wasn't a full event, but he was charging you more than that.
I still had to pay the full amount. I was.
But you didn't pay the full new amount, or did you?
So
So in other words, did we actually pay more for less?
I had to pay, I don't know, I think it's like $3,000-4,000 that I paid. He did come back and he did say that, they forgot to charge me the cleaning fee, so then I got another bill of $700, and I did go talk to them and I said, is this a bill or was it sent later on? And he said, oh, the secretary, and she was very rude, she said, we forgot to charge you the
Well,
cleaning
that's
fee.
their problem, we have a contract.
And I
Well,
said,
because they forgot, that's not your
That's
problem.
not our fault,
yeah.
and we as a city should not pay.
And according to them, my bathrooms were all full, which is
It's
very,
crazy for
Yeah.
a few hours.
and it wasn't even.
And
a
and
few-
again, if they didn't plan strategically enough for the attendance, that is on them. We had a contract to,
But you paid.
I paid it.
you
I
paid it.
I had to pay it.
It goes to her, not the city. It
Yeah.
goes- I mean, it's
This,
Amy
yeah,
who's on
this
the
is
line. for
Amy's on
everything.
the line for this.
Maybe we should, just to let you know, maybe we should have had like a council person speak to them or something, because golly, that is just, that's,
It's the same
and I
thing with,
understand we're public, but that's a little surprising.
yeah, it's the same thing with the garbage. They charged me
I knew there was another one.
$1,000 something for garbage. And I told them, why so much? And they said, well, it was full. And I said, there's no way, like, I could see maybe half, because, you know, when the vendors do get there, they have their trash. So I would not even say there was.
I mean, it wasn't even open yet.
Yeah, there
been
wasn't
a few
very
hours.
even much, and they all said, and because it was over the weekend, I don't know, community members could have dumped
Yeah.
stuff in there because they
It
saw,
wasn't,
oh,
wasn't
it's
even-
open. I didn't check, I mean, I was busy at the PD, so I wasn't going through
mhm.
the trashes and seeing. And that's what they told me, so at the end I had to pay, and I said, there's no way, and I did argue, and I tried, and they said, well, this is what, it was basically my word against the tow truck guy.
Yeah.
So, and to leave, I didn't want to not pay and hurt any of
Next
their
year's,
events
Right.
yeah.
in next year's.
Understood. And that, you know,
Continue your relationship.
Yeah,
Sure.
so, and I had to pay it, so, and I know with sending the money through the LTAC, I was able.
Because you're requesting it from here.
Yeah, so I was able to pay, and I know that I feel like we shouldn't have had to pay, but I have to maintain the relationship,
relationships.
and I didn't want it to hurt any other event where they say, you know what, Sunnyside doesn't pay, they didn't pay us, we have this outstanding bill. I don't want to leave it
Right.
like that.
And I think, you know.
Appreciate your
for-
work trying to
for-
get it.
For future reference, make sure to review that with them, those contracts, because they shouldn't be adding something
No,
last minute like that. That's just,
contract is
that's on
contract.
them, but I'm glad you were able to maintain your relationships with them.
And I am looking at different, you know, porta potties, places, because I feel,
There's like a monopoly here.
it's kind of like, well, we're giving you this, and then we're being treated badly by the receptionist and by the, you know, and it's not just me, I know
Well,
there's
it's like-
other events
Yeah, it's like
that
customer
I've talked to-
relationships. Yeah, sure.
that they have not been.
And of course, we want to support local business, but not if
Some
local
sort for the
business
cost that they
isn't
donated.
honoring
Yeah,
the contract.
they're very rude with the lighting parade too. It's really a bother to them. so-
And then it's like a problem, because then I call and I say, receipts, you know, I need the porta potties here. Oh, yeah, well, we forgot, we'll try to get it there, our truck drivers are busy, and I'm like, why book this since February or January? You know, and I even called a couple weeks, the month before, to double check, so it's kind of like, okay, I'm paying you all this money, I want good service, and I want, you know, I expect our stuff, and then they'll say like, this is damaged, and I'm like, You know, for Sunshine Days, they charged me, for damage fees that I guess the soap dispensers was broken and this and that. When I checked and left, everything was fine. But they're, yeah, every year I feel like they add something or they say, oh, this or that.
And it's good, a question specific to Cinco de Mayo. If the chief is saying that the event needs to be fenced, what happened? Was that all related to the event? Or was that something that just randomly happened? Because it's never happened before.
It's never happened before.
And it was personal to those people, and it was over when they did what they did, but nobody knew that
They
at
just
that time.
chose to do it
Yeah.
during the event.
Yeah.
So I guess my question for the chief would be, I know we try to defend against every possible eventuality. This is a one-off. If it happens again, yeah, I would agree, maybe we should fence the event or do something to try to, but until then, you're gonna put a collar around the neck of this event that people can't handle.
Right.
Just the size of the event, the scope of people.
And what does a fence do? I can still carry my weapon right on through.
Yeah.
So
Because
that
it's
I
not-
don't
So
understand.
it's not like we're putting a metal detector at the gate.
Right.
You
And
know?
I know
Protect
that
against the
was,
gun. Right.
that was some talks, and this was just that day, when we
A
were,
knee-jerk,
it
you
was
know,
like,
kind
there
of
was a lot of information
Yeah.
going, you know, that just
No.
happened.
They're requiring the parade to happen.
In the farmer's market that they have is not required, I mean,
I don't think. I
They
think
don't
somebody
have the
needs to
fence.
speak up, yeah.
and then for,
But you're looking towards, if we have to have fencing, that's gotta be part of your budget, is what you're looking at.
yeah, and then
now.
that's why,
Or it comes out of the city.
And there's
police
no-
department budget or someplace else.
yeah, there's no,
There's
I
no
have a con-
policy.
there's no contract yet, so I can't say, oh, you know what, the city's gonna pay for it, because there's still, I mean, I've talked to Elizabeth and she said, we'll find funding, but there's no security, there's no
You
like,
don't have a,
and if I take this event and they say, you have, okay, well, where am I gonna, I have to find funding to fence this.
And fencing does in no way solve the problem.
Chief, when we talked to Chief, he said that we can monitor the people in and out, check. But at the
One way in,
same
one way
time,
out.
yeah, one way in, one way out, but there's businesses downtown and say somebody has a haircut appointment and usually during Cinco, it's prom weekend. They say, hey, I have a hair appointment and they're way back there. How do I know that they do or they
Yeah.
don't? It's not
you know,
realistic.
for the, just on that same note, when we did the 4th of July, I think there was a shooting going on over on the corner of 16th and Lincoln or something. And we did the 4th of July and we were fenced in. We brought the food trucks in, we had all this stuff, and we were on the football field though, the Clemson one football field. And so everybody was fenced in and they asked me, are you gonna cancel it? I said, absolutely not. I'm not gonna cancel this event. I wasn't expecting 3,000 people. I was hoping I'd get a few more than we did, but nevertheless, it was fenced. And people came in and there were cars everywhere. But I have really objection to the fencing. I think the only place that fencing ought to happen is maybe around the carnival. And that would be easier to maintain. But maybe not. I don't think we want to get in a position where we're kowtowing to the criminal aspect,
So
And
this
we
is
don't want the
where,
responsibility of implying that because we put fencing up,
that
that we're safe. And then something happens and we get
And
sued.
then we will get sued.
Yes.
so that's where I don't know
You
if
tell
it's
me
a
that won't happen.
recommendation from like council needs to give me, like, this is where I don't know, I'm confused. I submitted a proposal because I,
You needed to.
and
Yeah,
you submitted,
yeah.
and, but I'm kind of stuck, I'm kind of lost, I guess, because I don't know what the direction city wants to
I
go,
do, yeah.
or,
And that.
I do have a
that
question
impact-
with, yeah,
impact here as well.
it's already impacting, we're having, the vendors don't like the idea of having the fence up, because we can't have as many vendors, and they are not gonna be able to see the parade like they did, so, yeah, we're having issues with it, but, Amy, are you gonna be able to have the carnival? Is the carnival going to, if you have it in 2023, Cinco de Mayo, is the carnival gonna come back?
from what I've talked to them, yes.
Okay.
I know they were mad, I get it, everyone was
Everybody
mad.
is, everybody is.
Everybody hated me, but it was a decision that had to be.
Yeah. No, I wasn't asking, I was just wondering if they had said for sure they wouldn't for sure, because then you're looking at, less revenues, because, and that's another reason that we don't want to lose this event. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know
mean,
something horrible will happen, but it's.
I
good
don't
for
want to
Sunnyside,
fence it, I want to kind
usually.
of keep it open like it is, how it's been for years. And therefore, do we have more security? We had more security than we've had years before, and it still happened.
So-
That event was going to happen.
Yeah, it was gonna, they retaliated the next day in Granger. So it's kind of like move forward, like we did 4th of July. I just need direction
You know what I would suggest? And
or
when you-
direction
when-
too, because I kind of do, city says, hey, this is what we like. Okay, I kind of, I do it.
I think what you, go ahead
So
with
I'm
your,
kind of-
I see where your confusion
I'm
is.
lost, I'm confused.
Yeah.
I still submitted it because I still want city to know I want to do the event still. I
Did you
still-
put a cost for fencing in there, or did you leave that out?
I left that out
Okay.
because I
For
know,
both events, correct? For Sunshine Days
yes.
and Cinco? Okay.
just because I wasn't sure, and I know Farm Implement Parade, they said they had to.
Who made that decision? That you have to?
Elizabeth said that we needed to. I thought the insurance, had said the same thing, but I could be wrong, I'm not quite sure. Do you know if insurance had said that? I don't, but I do know that I was told, because, yeah, with Rotary, we had to put in our budget, for this year, so I had to have that in there.
Okay. well,
And I
let's-
know they're
let's hang
requiring
on.
us now to get higher insurance.
Yeah,
well, you're
that's
gonna
the
have
other
higher
part.
insurance.
And I
okay?
know when I asked my insurance lady that I've been going through, and it's been the same, I've kept the same with the chamber, that's had, now it's under my name. She told me that what I'm asking for, they're not able to do because it's a special event. But I did ask Perla, I got a second, because I want a second opinion, I'm not just gonna take hers. I did ask Perla if she can look into it for me and see if that is something. Sunshine Days, because there's not as many people, I'm still able to get the amount that I need, but the amount that they're requesting for me to get for Cinco, my insurance is saying, no, they can't.
Ask them to go to the underwriters. I have 6 insurance licenses. She can't do it. She has limits, but it can go to the underwriter, and the underwriter, their insurance can waive that or deny it.
Mhm.
If
I
you
think-
like who you're dealing with.
I think you'll continue to work on the insurance aspect of it.
Yes.
As far as the fencing goes, I think that's gonna have to be something that comes before city council. And so I think that,
We put that portion
just
aside.
put that portion aside about the fencing, and we'll bring it up at a workshop. I think we could bring it up at a workshop, right?
Yeah, you can, or you
Is
can
it-
tap on at
or
the
we can-
safety
The
subcommittee.
We have, our safety committee has been working really, really hard, so I'm gonna refer this to them, okay?
Awesome.
And let's, and for you guys as well, because I think that's, so,
The farmer's market has had their events.
and they
nothing's
have,
happened.
and
I
they
know it's
didn't have
smaller,
any
but-
fencing for the farmer's market.
That's
so-
their hamstring.
Yes, and I don't think that that's what we want. We want people to have easy flow.
Yeah,
And we don't, in my opinion is too, is just, we don't give in to the crime folks. We got police and they're working it. We'll let them do their job. And we're providing family entertainment to our community with these events, and it's not what we have to do, okay?
Can I ask you a
Moving
question
on.
about the proposal that you put together?
Let's move to that.
You asked for, your first ask, I think, was 30,000.
Yeah.
Your backup was 25. And you said, I have 2 questions. First one is, you said skimping on lesser towns and how you lose business. Does $5,000 really make that much difference when you're talking about some of these bands that you're going at?
I did go to a conference, so they are asking for way more money because of flights, gas. For Cinco, I lost, so the flights were expensive. So it's more comes to what is the band that I get, what are they asking for? Are they gonna come in bus? They might ask me for gas money, or they might ask me, so I kind of have that little extra.
So it's a slush fund, basically.
Yeah, kind of just an extra, a wriggle room, like, okay, I know. And the same thing I know, because I pay for security, and my bill's usually like 20-some thousand. And that's where I'm afraid for this coming year, is how much more security am I going to need? Am I gonna have to double just so people feel safe? And how much more is that gonna cost me?
Okay, I have the same question for you as I did before. Same comment. Why are we giving money when you give away so much money? In other words, couldn't you lower some of the prizes? I mean, what you're gonna say, one person was gonna get like $40,000 this year for the awards?
I don't take care of that, so that's Fiesta Foods. Fiesta Foods works with me, and I sponsor, but Fiesta Foods, like, that's their money.
Okay.
I don't have.
I was totally confused about that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why are we giving you $40,000
No,
to give away
That's part of-
$40,000?
that's part
of it.
So that's sponsorship, and they're doing that, and they're doing all the creative. So you never know what it's gonna be year to year. You're
Yeah.
not paying it.
I'm not paying.
Got it. Perfect. That's not in the budget.
Yeah,
Got it.
I don't pay for any, the only thing I do is I put them on the poster, we announce it.
Sure, but you're not paying the awards.
No.
Okay, you're not asking us to
No.
pay the awards.
They ask us, like, we'll get them like a yellow vest, and
Oh.
Walmart donates that.
Or maybe the room for the judge and things like that,
I do
but not.
pay for the porta potties to be out there, but they do pay for or they don't pay, they ask for sponsorship with Flyos for the fencing, the generator that they have there. So the only thing that I really pay for them is the porta potty. And that's a porta potty at the event, and then I pay for another porta potty at the school for when they have all the horses. Just because it's for them to bring on the horses, we just figured pay for a porta potty down at Harrison, and that way they have one there. But Luis is really good, he takes care of everything. And then they do their own separate, also like advertise. And they do announce us as well, like Cinco de Mayo, Sunnyside, and I know they do Tri-Cities and Yakima, Sunnyside is their main one that they give to.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Any other questions?
I have a couple more.
Okay.
On your budget, I noticed that you were projecting $75,000 in revenues and $116,000 in expenses. That's a $41,000 loss. Is there something else that's in the budget that is not here, or, I mean, how do you do that?
Well, this year I lost. It's hard because I do try to save, I do try to get sponsors.
So who pays that deficit?
Well, I do pay for whatever I got from the city, I try to pay. And what I did for the vendors, they did sign a contract. I couldn't return anybody's money.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Her
question is,
business does not get any money. That's where
Are
it
some of
comes from.
these expenses soft? They're not.
Yeah, and some of them are like over, I do add, because I don't know with what, everything's going up. So really like the. And I just add because. Didn't really go off because this year, I didn't want to put my expense for this year because then it's like, well, you didn't spend that much, so you don't need that much. And the couple years before, we didn't have it because of COVID, and now everything went up, and they just charged me. I mean, the garbage could have been a little bit more because they said it wasn't full, so they go by pounds. But I mean, this year I did have to get sheriffs, but I do put. Sheriffs, they could go up to in price. That's why I put explorers and sheriffs, because explorers I do give them.
Isn't that
2,000.
a donation?
Yeah, it's like a donation that I give to them because I technically don't pay. So that $2,000 is for them to go to camp and stuff like that.
I guess I would feel better supporting something that came close to breaking even than this.
And I've had a rough. The first year from COVID, I had to not do it. So then I returned everybody's money. And then this year,
wanted to do it either. for me. Sure.
So it's been hard, it's been tough, and according to my accountant, I was on the right path. She's like, you're making, we're making money, and she said, you're at the point in a business where you're starting to make money, but then COVID hit, and this. So for me, it's been tough, but I wanna keep doing it because I see all the families and I see everybody that has fun. So, and I know it brings business to Sunnyside. This coming year, I might not be able to spend as much as get bigger vans. And I do have that fear of what if, because it's already been 2 years that I've gotten a hit for it. So I do have that fear of, I hope it works. I hope I have something.
Any other questions, Tom?
I have one more. Along the lines of education, and I know I talked about this with you once before, the Cinco de Mayo is a commemoration of the Battle of Puebla. And I think you ought to reenact the battle, because they do reenactments in Union Gap. I don't know if you've been up there.
Civil War.
Civil War reenactments, black powder, oh gosh.
Stillicum,
And I think
Washington?
no one has ever tried to reenact the Battle of Puebla. It was a big deal. They defeated the French Foreign Legion, the most elite army in the world. Yeah, and it's something that the history class, the history teacher at the high school should latch onto and help you with, because that's the crux of it. You could do a
The
reenactment.
drama teacher and the history teacher, if they would combine, oh, that's a
You're not
cool
gonna
idea.
be able to fence that.
No, you
Yeah.
can't. Just like with the horses, you can't really.
Yeah, I can't, we fence the corral, the horse, but.
But that would be something
That
that
would be
would bring
amazing.
people from out of town who don't know anything about it, come and see what Cinco de Mayo is really all about. Yeah, it's a celebration, but what are they celebrating? This. You can remember when some European power decided to only die on the throne of Mexico.
I think that's brilliant.
And they had no business doing that, but they did it anyway. And Mexican people pushed them out. That was the start. So those are the kinds of things that I think, and it would be unique, again, it's one of those things that only Sunnyside does. Take your competitive advantage.
Yeah. Take that up, kick it up a notch.
Yeah.
That might be the saving grace.
Well, and I know it's more work. I know you've got your hands full with lots of stuff, but I would enlist that history teacher. I don't know who the history teacher is here at the school, but
And there might be, I think there's a new one. There's a new teacher this
hey,
year.
here's something else for you to do. This is a big deal in the community for lots of reasons. Who would like for you to step up
And
and
with
help
the
us out?
160 kids who are turning out for drama class,
Oh my
they have
gosh,
built-in,
you get a built-in two armies.
we
Yes.
got built-in
Staff.
actors and actors. I don't know, I'll help you with that. That sounds fun.
That
Okay.
would be, that's another reason to support it, because it would bring more people in.
Yes.
Okay, so what do we want to do with this particular proposal?
I make a recommendation to fund it,
Our level.
the level requested. Because I think she's gonna have those expenses this year.
Do we have a tally of where we're at?
Where are we at? What do we got left to spend? Because we still got 2 to go.
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo at 30,000.
I would take you to 65.
Okay, and what do we have available to spend?
198.
Is that what that number is?
Well, I don't know what you haven't set a budget, but yeah, 198. No,
It was
Yeah.
198.
Yep.
But we also said we wanted to save, for other stuff.
No, it's not in that.
You want to rethink about what we want to
Yeah, no,
do.
exactly.
That's okay.
That's good.
and that would put you at 100,000
So there's,
for the convention
and
center.
there's still money then available for the other 2 events that we have on our agenda.
You also want to fund what's the Yakima Valley Tourism Center.
Yeah. So, but I think I still think we're kind of within,
I would second.
Good.
okay.
All right, let's do a vote.
Well, come on, wait a minute, is there any debate? No? Okay,
Sorry, I'm just trying to.
yeah, I know, but we gotta do it.
Yeah, we have to do the.
So Tom is seconding motion to fund at the $30,000 level. So, then no further debate, all those in favor,
Add the caveat, get the history teacher involved.
with the suggestion of maybe we're looking at a new event. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, we can go to this, to the,
Okay, Sunshine Days, I did
likes you.
with,
It like zooms in on you, I'm sorry. I don't know why.
That's fine.
Look at it, it zooms in.
Sunshine Days, it is, like I said, we are starting from, this will probably be my second year taking it. I did last year, I brought, which I think a lot of people liked, was the falling soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
I had Walmart,
Delta.
employees carry banners. They give me a list, and I did talk to some, police officers that had, friends or family in that list, so then I specifically got certain people because they wanted to carry their banner. And then I got some more local, like if I knew from like Prosser, Moses Lake, Othello, and these families go to these places and they watch their son, daughter's banner being carried in parades. They do have a float. I have asked to request if we can have this float at the parade. I haven't got an answer back yet, but it does get booked. Went to, I think it was the Benton County Fair. They did do the police, the fallen police officers. There's mobile. So I am in talks with them too. So I'm trying to find where to bring it back and what we can do for people to come to Sunshine Days. And I feel like last year, I can't say there was thousands of people, but I feel like it was more than what we've ever had. And the parade, I was like, oh my gosh, people came out and they saw the parade just from what I did.
By adding that.
Yes, just by adding that, a lot of people did like it. And I got a little bit backlash from people because it was on September 11th. But I told them, hey, this is my plan.
Even better to honor.
Yeah, this is
Oh
what
my
I'm
goodness.
doing.
Because the firemen were out there too. weren't they?
Yes, oh, and I did have the big flag
Mm-hmm.
hanging over for a while
That was
by
really
the
cool,
event.
on our ladder truck.
Yes.
And you had a good, for the first year, and an event that has been empty for quite some time, you had a good amount of vendors.
And I did shut it down enough time so that people could go to Miss Sunnyside. I did focus, hey, go that way. In my advertisement, I do have,
So.
head over to the Miss Sunnyside pageant,
Mhm.
go support these ladies. I do put in the pictures. I do work with, Diana or Kim, and they do send me the pictures. They do send me, I give them the application. Anything that I need, I've been in communication, working with them. They did suggest, I did do, because the first year that I did do it, community members said, hey, do the parade at noon. We want the parade at noon. It's a better time. I tried it. People did come out, but then talking with Diana, she said, hey, then the girls are not able to go downtown and kind of mingle because they have to go to judging, they have to go this. And I said, okay, well, let's go back to the 10 for this year, see how it works. And if people don't really come out, or they're saying, no, we like this uniform.
I think people really are geared towards having the parade at 10 o'clock. I mean, if you moved it, I would miss it.
Yeah. So last year I did move it because it was kind of
I
like
think
a
so.
A child, you're trying
I'm
different
trying
things.
different things. So I'm talking to Diana, she said, the girls weren't able to go down there because this and this. And I said, okay, we want the girls down there. We want them to thank the vendors, stuff like that. I did provide another thing. Walmart did provide food for all of the parade entries. And all the parade entries loved it. And then it got talking because then at other parades, they're like, well, Sunnyside fed all of us. Because if you do go to the other parades, they only feed the royalty. They have a royalty luncheon.
Oh, yeah.
So it was kind of nice. And everyone loves food, right? So we can get them I don't want
Yeah.
to go off topic, but do we sell cocoa and cider at the parade and things like that? Do we have an organization that could take that on as a fundraiser? I know standing there on our little old tractor, man, for the Christmas farm lighted implement parade.
Band usually,
Offer to people, but yeah, Walmart has helped us out June.
Yeah, I know we fed, we did the same thing for the farm implement parade. We fed them little snack ciders, and I think we did Coke, because Coke donated.
Yeah.
Even if Walmart gave it, I'd still feel a little,
okay,
help us.
so is that a recommendation?
I would,
Okay, I think so. That sounds like a recommendation. For Sunshine Days, you're talking about?
Did you have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Okay.
So from what I'm hearing, Sunshine Days consists primarily of a parade, and maybe some ancillary events associated with it.
Yeah, we do have the vendors.
So it's like a street fair too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
on the street.
we've been doing it small, we've been doing it one day, just because I feel like the amount, everything's met, and last year, granted, was my first, okay, let's see what we're gonna do. So same thing, and I feel like it's gonna take time to build it up to what, my goal is to have it like Cinco de Mayo. Have it 3 days, have the carnival, I want it back to what it used to be.
So,
So it is building progress.
yeah, I guess the question I'm asking is, what's the purpose of Sunshine Days? Is it a community celebration?
Yeah, it's community day, like community days.
It's like community days,
So
yeah.
Zilla does their community days, and
Yeah.
Town does
Right.
Old Town, BGAP is Old Town. Does
State
that,
staying process, that sort
right,
of thing.
does that generate out-of-town visitors?
Well,
So much.
building it up, I feel like people came out, I don't know if they stayed in hotels. I know people came out from out of town to watch the parade because they're, kids they wanted to see their banners.
And we know,
especially with an event like that, people come.
yeah,
We did have some, did you?
Not that I recall, but I'm not
It's,
down at the grassroots.
yeah, I would say it's building back up because it went so many, it used to be very big.
It used
But
to be like
from reading, I can't find it right now, I was trying to look for it, but from reading it also, there was ideas of combining it with a sports,
yes.
Like
a tournament or something
one
to
of
make
those-
sure.
Well, your 509 is mid-September. They have a-
if they would do that during Sunshine Days.
That's one thing. I know you had, at one time, you used to have a car show here. And
Yeah.
those can bring, if they're done properly, those can bring people from out of town. I guess all I'm saying
Sunnyside
is,
does have a car club.
if you have an event, and there's a community.
It meets at my
celebration,
house, or at our park
it
every month.
probably shouldn't be LTAC funded, it should be community funded. If it has a tourism focus, then it should be LTAC considered. That's.
Yeah,
all
I
I'm
see
saying.
what you're saying.
Do we want, I'd like to make a recommendation that we fund it for this year at the level requested with some amendments, which are to put out, even though you're getting donations, in order for you to become self-sufficient and not keep coming back to LTAC, that you, even though it's donated, you ask for donations to try to get your own self-funding. I think anybody coming in front of us should have their hand in doing it, and also expanding and working with the other group.
Yeah, because I did talk to, some of the soccer leagues to do a tournament this weekend.
You used to
And
have,
then
always
do,
have a memorial
They used
baseball
to
game.
they used to do a baseball one, out at Sunnyside. But everyone's just kind of like, when Sunshine, the event started kind of, they just kind of went different. So I'm hoping to bring that,
Mhm,
start getting more vendors,
mhm.
so we can expand and have it like Cinco and bring back. We have that softball tournament. We have, maybe a soccer tournament, a basketball tournament that weekend.
The car show.
Yeah,
Car
car
show, throw up a, something out at the Central Park. or
And I feel like
something.
Sunshine Days is like a work in progress that we're trying to,
I think,
for the community days. And I know last year I got a lot of positive things from the community members, that they were glad that they saw something.
mhm.
And that day too, they liked it because then French Vanilla had theirs. So they went to French Vanilla, then they went downtown,
They're doing
then they went to Bridal, and then we did have some people that went to Hobby's Chicken and Churros because
They just opened.
they had just opened, so they're like, oh my gosh, we just got this at Hobby's, it's delicious. So I know there was foot traffic, I just don't,
Not sure of heads and beds.
heads and beds, that I can't tell you.
But I want to go back to Peggy. Peggy, are you making that in the form of a motion? Okay.
So 15 or 15?
For the requested amount, 15.
With the realization that this may not happen in future years. Because I see Tom's face.
I have a hard time with $50,000, to be honest with you. That's a lot of.
It is.
To get $15,000.
It is a lot.
And I,
6 years.
Well, we don't have a second yet, so, so we can still talk about this.
I don't want to disappoint you. I saw you feel a little disappointed when I asked.
No, because it's like a city event, so
Yeah.
it's city community day.
It's one of our signature events.
I'm just taking over and doing it.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
she's
understand
doing that.
fully. I think Tom's point
So,
is
and
that
if
it
there's,
is the LTAC event. You know, how many heads are getting in beds.
I think that's the plan, is to have it that way. I just think that for so many years it hasn't been done. That's why that we lost the tourism out of it.
And that's
And
why,
now,
We're trying to rebuild it.
yeah,
That's why I made the
would
motion.
Suggest that maybe, this is gonna sound cheap, but maybe $7,500 you give it. And let you build, and then come back next year and say, here's what we've done, here's where we're going. And make the case, rather than giving you a bunch of money and saying, go now, just because it's not a.
so then saying for me to put out of pocket.
Well,
Build the city
Well,
event,
and work with other people.
your budget is the same as the other one.
because I mean, this is a city event. I'm just doing it for the city.
So
It's like-
Amy?
Almost like a contract with the city.
And I know I didn't,
You didn't use it all last year.
no.
If you didn't use it all, then Tom's proposal does make more sense
You have a
Well, no,
budget
it's
that's.
But that's,
to build.
it's hard to build with nothing. And I will say a lot of the money in her budget and the expenses goes towards security. So the security itself is
And that's
9,000.
expensive.
That goes back
Yeah.
to 7.
That goes back to Sunnyside, and it goes back to, the police officers and everything else, so if they,
Do you have a motion?
that never got a
Yeah.
second. That wasn't a second
that wasn't
from
seconded.
Peggy.
So did,
So I'm trying to determine whether or not Tom wants to make a motion or not.
I second Peggy's.
Okay, did you?
Yeah, I was
I'm sorry.
trying to say, and then he
Okay.
started talking, so then I thought, okay, we'll just.
So you
Okay,
second
then
I
and
second.
second Peggy's motion, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That's
on
okay.
that.
I was just, no, I hadn't completed it yet, and then, so I thought I would hear him out, but honestly, just looking at the security, the cost of that is, almost the amount right there. The total 15,000, so it's just really hard for me to,
It does cost a lot. And
I think that reason because you know how tight-fisted I can be, that
We're
I wanna
certainly
give it an-
finding that out.
yeah, I can.
so
But I do
Okay.
want to see these events succeed, and I do agree the past few years have had an impact, and that's the only reason why I'm not being as tight-fisted as I normally am with this event. But I think, it's being watched and it needs to expand or die.
Well, you know what? I have the same question about the budget, because you're showing an upside down $26,000 on this event. So are you saying some of the expenses that you listed here are soft, they may not be as much as?
so last year, the Explorers, we used them, but we didn't use them for like the event. And there might not have been, I'm trying to think if we did have Explorers. So I know last year, I think maybe there's like one or two, so they didn't, they're like kind of volunteers. They didn't charge me, I did give them like a little thank you for coming thing. But I just don't want to not say this is what we need and it doesn't. Same thing, I'm always looking for a good deal. So generator, and I just put in there, this is what, we have. I know from when the the Christmas parade did it, they were having issues with power down there. and then I kind of just help them out, like, use this pole, do this. So I don't know what the power situation, if I have to get a bigger generator, get a bigger generator. So I always add everything in there that I think possibly we could use. An advertisement, I always look for best deals, and that's why where we were asking if we're able to get a contract for 2 years, when we get these deals from businesses, they say, oh yeah, if you sign for 2 years, you get this, or if you sign for this event and this event, I can give it to you for this amount. So that's where it's really hard that for spending money is, well, I can only sign for this year, or I don't know if I'm gonna have this. So for like Cinco, I can say, okay, yeah, do this for Cinco, and then for the entertainment, I already have.
Oh,
The
I
bottom,
see, I see
like
what you're
reserve.
saying, yeah. Okay, but let's go to the question. Are we ready to have the question on the motion that was put forth? Peggy, your motion was for the full amount?
It was,
Seconded by Lindsay?
with the
And,
caveat that she'd work on expanding it
yeah,
already
so
this.
I think she has said that's her
Yes.
point. And the debate is whether or not we're going to, but, okay. So for this particular motion, let's go ahead and call for the question. Is that all right? So all those in favor of us recommending the 15,000 LTAC money to the Sunshine Days proposal, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
And Tom opposed. Okay, motion carries. All right. So,
Amy, did you vote?
no, she.
I sustained
Oh,
my vote.
You abstained?
She did the right thing.
She did what she was supposed to do.
You can vote on your item.
I did. But these are things to consider. These
I
are all valid
understand your
points.
point.
Yeah, they're all valid
100%.
points. You bet.
I
Okay.
kind of just want to give it another year and let's see what happens this year, because I feel like last year was kind of hard because
It's hard.
COVID too, so I.
And it was right after
So
the
we'll
Cinco
see,
de
yeah.
Mayo.
But it's not,
and-
but it is not general fund money, this is lodging tax money, we've always got to be aware of that.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely,
That's a lot of years of putting somebody in a bed to pay for that,
well,
a lot of years.
oh man, I'm gonna die first. Wow, with the way you explained it, I mean, I'm never gonna live that long.
But that's
I-
the
but maybe-
reality of it.
Maybe if I could become homeless on those special events, I'll just come stay at the hotel and have to just.
There you go, come on over to the RV park, the pool's perfect. There you
I
go.
sold my camper, so I can't come to the RV park.
Oh, no.
Okay, one more, here we go. Thank you guys for your patience today. And your time. So, go ahead and make your presentation now.
Okay. Well, next year is different, I will say that, in that I did put in our budget the cost of the fencing. So that's why usually I ask for 20,000, but I asked for 21 because I put that fencing in there. And then also, this is our 35th year. So we're expanding our advertising, I've looked into, I don't think I put it in there because I didn't have the numbers yet, but I've looked into billboards, and that was another in the Spokane, Idaho area. And so we were looking at another 3,000 there, and I was looking into doing some more advertising in movie theaters too. So because I didn't have it yet, yeah. The market and the parade now. So we have other expenses such as the DJ and the photo booth. And the photo booth is, the community really liked that. And it was also kind of a way for me to see, because we put it on social media, I could kind of tell when people were out of town because they would tag each other, where they came from. And we also did surveys that have kind of helped us get a little better of an idea. The vendors themselves, I had from Oregon was probably the farthest, but I do know, oh no, I also have one from Iowa. So those are only been 2 vendors I know for sure stayed in the hotel. Other than that, I tried to do a survey and people said, as far as staying at a hotel, I had 5 other people for sure say that they, stayed in a hotel. And then other than that, oh, I did ask about the RV park and I don't know, because
Nobody's ever
I was
come.
like, I asked, but I didn't really get a response on that
Right.
one.
That's
That
why they
is-
all
so-
park along instead of sitting there.
I know.
For
I
the high
try,
school-
I
high school-
do try.
No.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's why this next year is a bigger ask. Because I think last year I asked for 20 and the lower amount was 18, and I stuck to our lower amount being 20 just because I want to do more. I want to push it out more to Spokane, Idaho area advertising, and so looking into that's just going to cost us more. And the Rotary, we still want to be able to make it bigger and bigger. So that's it. We're trying to build it. So our 35th, we want to make really big, and we want to see what else we can get in here to get as many out of town people as we can.
No.
So, and I did try to get into. I talked to, I'm not sure who the manager is there at the Sunnyside Hotel, and get a better number of like who lives in the hotel, but I didn't receive a number. So my numbers were kind of based off of the surveys and people I talked to, and on social media, who got tagged and where they live and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, and we had the DJ, we had DJ Blue with robots. That was very popular. A lot of people like that. And the news reported on that, KIMA. And KXWD talked about that a lot too on their radio.
We had the most beautiful Santa Claus I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Yeah.
beautiful.
So,
I
yeah.
fell in love with Santa Claus.
So there was a lot of things we added last year to the market and tried to get, I did reach out to more farther away farms and stuff and try to get some more people here. Not a lot came, but that's another thing is for this year, I'm going to be advertising in some ag magazines. Try to get some more.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, so there's a national one that,
Do you do Capital Press out of Oregon?
I think they did in the past, but no, that's not one of them.
I took 2nd place with my tractor. Now, I want you to know there were only 2, but
Yeah.
I took 2nd place.
Yeah.
And you
So-
needed the hot cocoa.
I tell you what, it was amazing.
So we are working hard in trying to get as many, trying to build the tourism as much as we can. Even this is a big event, but I do know that a large bulk of the people that come are from the area, so I'm trying to work really hard at trying to know how many people actually.
And I think where you're targeting is a great.
Yeah.
Area.
That was where I started. I
That-
just started getting prices. I didn't know, and so.
Great.
Yeah.
great
The
target area.
movie theaters very, I use it for Cinco, it's
And it works
very,
Yeah, we've never done that, so.
it's very good. And the amount of
Fancy
people that
pictures.
go to the
Oh, yeah.
movie theater, especially when they
Yeah.
go on the deal day and
There's a,
stuff like that.
there's a
Um,
Saturday, third is $3.
Yeah.
So when they're sitting there, the advertisement like comes,
Yeah.
and I know one year I did like let me know, you can enter a chance, like send us a screenshot or tag us
Oh,
if you
yeah.
saw
Yeah.
something like that, so
yeah.
then I knew like, okay, people are actually seeing.
That's how we've been kind of trying to do contests so we can, to tag people, so we can see the people that from out of the area and all the reports on social.
Are you
media.
guys keeping the house, is that within the budget, the house decorating?
That's not in here. That's
Maybe-
something separate that the Rotary has done.
But that might be something that another club could maybe take on.
Yeah, I don't
So-
think we're gonna end up
yeah.
doing it because we're trying to build this bigger and bigger, and so I don't.
Well, I think adding the Christmas market is
Mhm.
really a good idea, bring more people.
There's, it's not in this one, because we're trying to have, we'd really like to build something, like Yakima does with the lights and something out at the community center, but I mean, that was just an idea that,
So
we're
this
just
is,
trying to make more things for people to have to do the whole weekend.
I think
not just
one of
weekend,
the,
so.
one of the things too that I think that the city and maybe the museum could get in on is lighting up all their farm equipment.
That's, yeah, we talked to them, they need more volunteers, and we
Yeah.
talked about the high school students, maybe going and doing that.
So they got a new ag teacher.
Yeah.
and That would be a good project for his FFA kids.
So do
Okay,
you have
but
any questions, Tom?
he's
I see the
eager,
red.
he's eager to talk.
Go ahead.
okay, 'cause this year I know the hotel's gonna be good. I'm throwing an event.
Just tell.
Oh, I know, okay, it's not gonna be after it.
So,
Oh,
so.
oh.
the
My daughter's
downtown
skin,
market,
so yeah.
what is entailed in
Other than the vendors or?
that? I'm not familiar with it. What is it?
Okay, so, last year I had about 30 vendors and I tried to get, I tried local, but also get not counted. And so, I know 2 of them were from the Tri-Cities, no, sorry, 5 of them were from the Tri-Cities area. And so I had different stuff. We had, a lot of sweet stuff. We had toys for kids. We had, shopping. We had, house decor
Is
and
this
the food.
outdoors?
Yes, they're all in the square,
Right.
right next to, so I had some in the grass
Where
and
the
then
parade
some.
makes the left turn?
Yeah, so it's right there and all of them, most of them are coming back. I won't say all of them, most of them are coming back this year too. And so we're just trying to build that bigger and bigger. And we have a DJ, he has the robots and they go out and everybody really liked that. And then we have the photo booth too, which is another thing.
I have a thought for you on your advertising.
Yeah.
And I know this works. And
Okay.
you're on the right track, adding events to try to fill the weekend.
Yeah.
When you go out to advertise, if you can find the, I don't want to call them nursing homes, but not quite that. There's assisted living. Find the assisted living facilities that have an event coordinator. Stay east of the Cascades. People on the west side get freaked out by mountains and snow. They will not come. Maybe every once in a while you get somebody, but Spokane, Idaho, that's a great place to go. Find the assisted living facilities that have an event coordinator and have a bus.
Oh, yeah.
Because they will come. We actually got them to come one year. We found one in
Oh, yeah.
Fulton, and there were 30 people who came.
Oh.
Well, let me finish because it gets really interesting. Because one of the things that we added, and we added this at the hotel, and I would love to push this out of the hotel and put it someplace else. We had a hot chocolate contest. And the hot chocolate could be spiked or not, depending on the individual and, who you were gonna have doing the sampling and so on. But things like that, if you add those to the weekend, that gives people a reason to come and spend at least one night, hopefully 2 nights.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to add.
That was a great event, this Spike Cocoa. I went to that. I
Yeah.
remember going to that.
Yeah, anything that anybody else, we did try, we added like a cookie contest one year. Our first year trying it, we tried that. It is difficult as far as having, any kind of contest like that because of the, health department. Like hot cocoa, we can't do that. I mean, people can sell it once they get, the permits and everything for it, but as far as us having anything like that in the downtown market, I found that it did not work.
Well, we're doing it in the downtown market. I would do it in maybe one of the auditoriums at the school.
Yes, and
Or at
they
the
did,
Community center.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, so that, we have tried to work with other organizations to get other events like that going,
'Cause there is
as
a,
much as we can.
there is a
so.
certified kitchen at the community center,
Yes,
and you have to have that, and they have to make the cocoa on site.
yeah,
Yeah, and they can get a permit for that, easy
So we
peasy.
broke every rule because all we had was. a bunch of
I know, you
ducks.
guys, you guys had
because
cocoa.
the gingerbread house making, I think, or they used to do cookie decorating at the high school. I'm trying to get them to do that again, and then gingerbread house making, that's another thing,
Maybe
and.
graham crackers or something.
Yeah, it's like, because the more things you have listed, I know, because we used to go out of town to Sun River every year. And so the more, stuff to keep us busy was amazing. So that's what we're trying to do with the market, trying to.
The other
Yeah.
thing is the basketball, that works.
Mm-hmm.
Those AAU
Also,
kids wanna-
gymnastics during that time of the year. I'm not as dialed into the
I
gymnastics
don't know
circuit.
what that is here.
That
But
is
there's-
winter's wrestling.
Gymnastics.
Yeah, it's gymnastics plus.
Gymnastics, plus, yeah, and I know they have events.
Yeah.
And if you had one here on that day,
Mhm.
it'd be one more reason for people to come.
Maybe
Yeah.
they would come, maybe you could invite them to come do
Yeah,
Participate in the parade. Little kids, cheerleaders. I was a cheer mom for years.
oh yeah, that's the
Washington
other
State
thing, yeah,
certified.
that we have.
And you teach them a little thing and the parents put their kid in. My kids started cheering when they were 2 and 4.
Yeah,
And every Friday night, They had learned a new routine and they did one small little thing at the Friday night football game in town. And I paid a fortune for that.
Yeah, so to have the dance companies come down and that does that because it brings the kids and it brings all the parents.
All
and
the
they
parents,
come
all the
down.
moms and dads
And
smiling.
then it's nice having the market because when they come down for that,
They
hang out in
shop.
the market, but they walk around and I had a bunch of people ask me last year and I point them in the direction of like Safeway or something. I mean, I want to support my vendors, but I know what.
Do you have
everybody.
the 5K run still?
Yeah,
The
it's not a
jingle-
5K, it's just a jingle bell run.
And
right
it's like a
before.
mile. Yeah, it's like a mile.
It's a
little
mile.
over a mile.
The person who does it, she has a business in town. She would like to build it to that, but she's trying to work that out, how to do that. So, yes, that is
They
another.
have to-
Circle. a couple
Yeah,
times.
yeah, and you have to wear
Yeah.
costumes, and that's cute. I like,
Yeah.
I go out.
So there are
for my
things,
house
yes.
lights.
So the only question I had on your budget
Yeah.
was, there's an event coordinator on for $7,000. Is that a salary that's paid?
The salary that's paid, no, it's just paid for the hours that are put into planning the event.
Okay,
But paying a person,
Yes,
so it's a salary.
because there are not enough members on, which hopefully that will change because there's more members joining.
I joined.
I
I just can't help this.
I know,
I have like,
build it bigger and bigger. I mean, there wasn't enough members to even, to get to come out that day. There's volunteer, a lot of volunteer hours that go into events, prize pre-planning and all the advertising and everything. It was not happening because it used to be, Deb that did it all, but then Deb left. And then it just wasn't happening anymore, so.
So who did that? That's you?
Yeah.
Awkward question.
I know.
Hard answer.
No, it's fine. I just try to stay it's hard being a Rotary member and yeah, we have a very specific contract that's, that we had to put through Rotary International to make sure that we're on the up and up, but yes.
It is a travesty that the event never got trademarked to the point where other communities couldn't steal it.
Yes,
And
Yes.
Yakima and Union Gap have stolen
yes.
some of the thunder.
Mhm.
So,
Even Granger and Top.
Yeah, we do. I mean, but ours is still, more people come to ours than any
It's
other.
granddaddy.
But yeah.
Yeah, so
But we
they're-
are working on that. That's something that we are trying to get as far as the trademark and we just have to find a design that, we have to pay someone to make the design because the design that we have in our stuff is just taken off online. And then Daniel from Yakima Valley Tourism has made some of it, so.
well,
Yeah.
you can trademark the lighted farm.
Though, just those words, yes, that is something been asking it, just haven't gotten to the budget yet, but yes.
I'll keep working on that.
Yeah,
Any other
It's
it would be
questions?
nice.
It's a good event. It's unique. Used to be the only one of its kind.
Very first in the state, very first, well,
Does somebody have a recommendation? Mine is
make a
the
motion? What do you want to do there?
I recommend to, fund it at the 21.
Amy, is there a
Second.
second?
It's a signature event. I would agree.
Okay, so any other debate?
I'm abstaining.
You're abstaining. So, okay, we got that out of the way. So, there's no further debate. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. And Lindsay is abstaining, so motion carries. Good job, everyone. All right. So we're still adding that 21. Did you add that 21?
Right now.
So we're getting kind of close to what we're gonna give,
You're gonna have a tough
marketing
time with
tourism.
With Yakima Valley Tourism, but that's, I think we need to hear from them and
Yeah.
we're gonna be able to pick and choose what we want.
I think that's the point right there. And I think hearing you guys talk about it, that has been, exactly what I've been hearing. So I think we can, agree on that, but we'll see what they bring back to us. Okay, is there anything further to come before us?
No, we have a meeting.
And we have a meeting date set for September next Wednesday at 11, right? Oh, at the RV park, so don't forget that. All right.
Hopefully by then we'll get an answer on, the fencing.
Yeah, we should have.
If
an
it's
answer
okay, I'll
on
just put
fencing.
that on the agenda.
go ahead.
Yeah,
We'll just put that under,
and then,
And then you'll meet again for the,
we'll meet again for the tourism.
if we're meeting next week though on that though, should we give the 509 that deadline? As far as having, you know, if we can get stuff,
You know, that's a
Well,
great idea.
because
So let's give them the 2 weeks.
The 2 weeks,
I
okay.
think they're gonna need the 2 weeks. They're,
If they
we're
want
gonna
to,
separate the.
that's
Yeah.
true, yeah, that's
Do you,
true.
do we want to schedule another meeting then for the 28th and go ahead and get it on the calendar?
well,
And
let's see,
it'll only be
let's,
that one
See if they
item?
come through first.
let's
Yeah,
see if they
that's
come
true.
through.
That's
Let's-
true.
let's-
You know,
let's
that's a
see.
very good.
Maybe-
Let's wait and see.
Maybe they'll say never mind,
Yes.
they say they don't want to, I don't know.
If
They
they,
can't do it.
if they do a budget, they may not meet on that. They don't have a budget. And
There's a guy who does the AAU tournament stuff in Yakima. It's literally unbelievable.
and the person.
Yeah, it's amazing.
My grandson-in-law does with soccer in the summertime, 135 kids and all the families. And there's like a soccer meet every Thursday, Friday. They have practice on Sunday. Yeah,
like I have a game today.
yeah,
We play in both leagues.
you do.
Yeah, we do both leagues.
What's the other?
My son's on the Terminator team, and then we're starting a new team.
I was gonna say,
We'll be at
Anyway, meeting adjourned.
thank you.
Meeting
Okay,
adjourned.
now you can keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry, I segued, complete fog there. You guys gotta keep me on track. All right.
And
Thank
we'll
you,
come
Peggy.
remind you when it's the next meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, well, he knows there's food, there's food.